conferences later on. And then Mick Schaefer, will hang out with him, KSHB 41 sports director. Look ahead to the weekend of football, certainly looking ahead to Chiefs and Raiders. Also a couple of massive games in the AFC with Miami and Dallas and Baltimore and San Francisco. We could sign off today on Friday, and the next time we're on the air on Tuesday, the show on the air on Tuesday, the Chiefs very well could be the number 2 seed. And one loss in the final couple of games for Baltimore from being, the 1 seed. So we'll see what happens this weekend. But there are some massive games in the AFC slate. A little bit of news. The NFL did not switch around any games for next weekend. There was talk about moving Chiefs and Bengals to noon. And what would be the Dolphins-Ravens was going to be flipped to 3:25 on CBS. That did not happen. So Ravens-Dolphins will stay at noon. Chiefs-Bengals will stay at 3:25 next week. So there was at least talk about that happening. And, that certainly can mess up people's travel plans and things like that. You're going into the game. I don't know, plans with activities with the kids and things like that. So no more schedule adjustments for the Chiefs except for whenever they announce the Week 18 game and the time for the Chiefs versus the Chargers, whenever that is. So I'm going to, go with 3:05. Sunday, 3:05. Chiefs and Chargers, because it won't be a noon game because it's on the road, and it will not be the Sunday night game. So there you go. That's my guess. We'll find out. 913-912-4810 is the text line. 913-912-4810 text line to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. If you want to join us, we will get into some text throughout the show as well. That's how the show lines up. I do want to start with, dragging just a little bit today, and that is because, we did our Christmas wrapping last night, and we also put the wrapping paper on presents too. We always get together and do like some hip hop things and freestyle.
You've got bars. Family. People don't know this, but Jason's got bars.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's
chocolate
a lot of fun.
bars, no. Christmas bars. Let's go.
Yep, absolutely, Mr. Good bars. A lot of them, every bar. So we were doing that last night, and I look at the clock when it's our tradition is we sit down and we wrap the presents and we watch Four Christmases. Get some eggnog. She gets the real eggnog. I get the good eggnog. You can figure out which one that is if you want to. Many people can disagree with each side of that, but we sit down and do it. And I looked at the clock, and I look up and I'm like, it's 12:40. What in the hell happened? Which is really 11:40 Central Time, but still really ridiculous. All right. Why didn't we do this tomorrow night on a Friday when I don't have to get up for anything on Saturday morning? I'm like, damn. And I'm wondering if Josh and Dylan might be dragging a little bit with the company Christmas party. Then I realized it was Wednesday night.
That's right.
This whole time, even if I was in town, I still would have missed it. I just showed up.
I would have asked you about it on Wednesday. I would have been like, hey, man, we'll see you at the party tonight. You would have figured it out at 2:05 on Wednesday.
I'd have shown up Thursday morning with a few people fired from hitting on coworkers' wives. What happened to that guy? Hit on his wife at a Christmas party. Another one? What about ours tonight?
Wow, there was a secret first company Christmas party. That's why. I honestly have kind of always assumed that was the case. That I don't know, that Steven went to the secret Christmas party.
Yeah, that's right. There's a secret club that gets together, and there's only 8 people, and then all we do because clearly involved in it. I would definitely get that invitation.
What actually happened, Jason, is you did actually get an email that said the party was on Thursday, because when Michael was planning it, she didn't know you were going to be in Louisville anyway, and we didn't have to lie to you that way.
That's right. That makes sense.
So it was just sort of roundabout gaslighting.
I looked at the email this morning, and I'm like, that was Wednesday night? No wonder Josh and Dylan sucked yesterday.
I get it.
I was wondering what the issue was. Now I know.
By that metric, Dylan and I have a Christmas party every night.
That's right. By that metric, my wife and I wrap presents every night. Every night we come in, dragging a little bit, trying to keep track of the K-State game and the Thursday night game that's going on. Eastern time sucks.
It seems
tonight,
miserable, man.
Yeah, tonight looking forward to that Missouri-Illinois 9 o'clock tip tonight.
Oh.
Just, God, I sat down and I got Amazon Prime on. And my clock said, 7:15. I'm like, all right, I got my bets placed because Kentucky finally figured things out quicker than even Missouri has done in passing some, legalizing sports gaming. So got my bets in, ready to go. Turn on Amazon Prime, and wait a minute, what's going on? There's still, everybody's just, there hardly anybody out there. I'm like, oh, son of a gun, it's an 8:20. All right, well, just sit here, do some other things, keep track of some other games, K-State, Wichita State at T-Mobile. What happens in that one?
You get back to your notepad and continuing to write your Christmas raps. I'm stuffing a stocking. I'll give you a socking. Eggnog on your face if you think that I'm bluffing. Yeah, that'll do. This is gonna work.
This is really good, really good. I love that one.
I'm going to be writing one-liners all show today. So at any point, if you want to just kick it to me, I'll come up with something about Donner and Blitzen.
Yeah, if you leave me, you make me sadder than rain, dear.
That's pretty good.
Stay with me, I'll be like Santa with his reindeer.
I love it. I love that. I'm gonna have a hard time topping eggnog on your face if you think that I'm bluffing. That's gonna be my standard for now. But I think reindeer is a rich vein.
That's also part of our tradition too, is eggnog on the face.
Yeah, you have to.
Just throw the eggnog around after 4 Christmases is done, and enjoy that as well. But yeah, so I'm shocked. I have no idea. I thought it was last night, Christmas party. So glad you guys had a good time. I asked you about it yesterday. So nobody got fired.
Nobody got fired as far as I could tell. There were some shenanigans, Jason. There were some shenanigans, but nobody got fired.
Offenses.
That's right. That's right. We had some wonderful food, had a good hang, and good. Really, the real treat for me is I got to see Adam Teicher out in the wild again. We get to hear from him every week, but I don't get to see him as often anymore. And we shared some wonderful moments.
Yeah, see, that's what I miss out on. Typically we've had the holiday party like after the first of the year. I like that. We've done that, or we've done earlier December. I like that too. This week, nothing I can do unless I just Zoom. Should we FaceTime next time?
Ooh,
and you'll just walk around with me saying hi to everybody?
I could walk around like holding an iPad with you FaceTiming on it for sure. Yeah, or we could get you one of those little wasn't there like a smart doctor thing at one point where it was like doctor's face on a little tripod basically that would just kind of roll around? The technology is there.
Dude, this is easy. You put it on an iPad, I'm FaceTiming, and you wear it around your neck like Flavor Flav.
Yes, it's the Jalen Daniels.
Yeah. And just walking around, and then people can just talk to me and ignore you.
Yeah, that happens anyway.
And then we start talking, and somebody's going to know, hey, just so you know, Josh is right here.
You will have
okay, good to know. Okay, yeah. Josh is like, hey, no, I love working with Josh. It's been great. It's been so cool. Is Josh still there?
I'll
yes,
offer
he
you.
Can hear you.
I'll offer you one more alternative here. You're going to have to pay for this because I feel like I'm really doing you the favor. But if you want to just buy me a morph suit, I'll just put that on, and then I can actually just strap the iPad over my face. Maybe I'll just get the 8-10 quarter zip that we both have. I don't know. I'll do my best Jason cosplay, and then just put the iPad over my face, so no one even has to know that it's me under there.
Right. Okay. So Christmas present. He just wants clothes from my closet.
Yeah.
Take back the Maserati I bought him.
Yeah,
okay.
No, listen,
there
Jason.
We go. So,
Jason, all I want to do is spend the day in your clothes. I mean,
take back the golf cart Patrick gave me to give to you.
No.
Cool. I'll ride that golf cart over to your house and hand off some clothes to you.
That's fair. I'll take it.
We're going to take him to Goodwill, but we'll take him to Good Josh.
I'm telling you, I'll be able to do some great things. Maybe some light identity theft, as long as no one measures our heights. Jason, you've gotten a little, I don't know, stumpier.
You sound taller on the radio.
I get that a lot.
Oh, my gosh. All the time. I get that. You don't look like Brian Haney at all.
I was thinking that I should have made a Brian Haney joke. Damn it.
Well, rock chalk it up for me. That's 1 for me and 0 for you in our Brian Haney jokes on a Friday. So
That's really
be thinking. Go back to the chalkboard, okay?
Really disappointing. I'm gonna text Brian and ask if he's got any good Jason bits planned for Christmas around his parts.
Back to the drawing board for you, okay? All right, 913-912-4810 is the text line. Dylan, we also need some Christmas music today, okay? Because this is the last show before Christmas, so I don't know the rules and all of that stuff with different.
We got buttons we can hit. We got buttons we can hit.
I was 10 steps ahead of you, brother. I already got them all loaded up.
Look at Dylan.
Awesome, man.
Unfortunately
Very
for the
cool.
streamers, though, I cannot play them there.
Yeah, that's
unfortunately,
a trade-off.
but it's a good trade-off.
And the podcast too, like the podcast won't have them, which is
That's all
when
right.
we start karaokeing, it'll just be us singing, not just a cappella.
That might be a treat.
I think that is a treat.
I think so.
I think we're actually incentivizing people to listen to the podcast just so they can hear our rendition of Last Christmas.
That is a, which by the way is a song that my son is listening to a lot now. Like when he's listening to Christmas music, he's like, "I'll play Last Christmas." I'm like, "All right, that's fine. Let's wham it up here. Let's do it." Man.
I was gonna ask. Does it matter what version it is to him? Does he like the original?
He's the George Michael. He's the Last Christmas.
That's great.
Original.
That is great news. That you can have much worse music taste as a 8-year-old, right?
Yeah. Well, his Christmas music, we don't typically listen to any of the other albums that are newer, that are redone.
Yeah.
Most of the songs we listen to are from original or close to original from back in the day. Now, they recognize almost all of them from Christmas movies. So that's where, we'll hear a song and my daughter will be like, "This is from Home Alone." And it's from like 10 other movies too. But yes, that is right. This is a Home Alone song. But we'll stick with the Andy Williams of the world and
get your little
Bing
Elvis,
Crosby,
get your little Bing Crosby, get your little wham.
Right.
It could also
Sinatra.
It could also be the fact that every establishment, whether it's a bar, restaurant, store, I swear I hear Last Christmas at least once, whether I'm in there for 15 minutes or an hour.
Yeah.
So that could be also the reason it might be stuck in his head.
Every time. That's absolutely right. So we'll play a little bit of that. Awesome. Looking forward to hearing that.
Dylan, can I request at some point today "Wonderful Christmas Time," the Beatles song? That song is just absolutely wild, man. That song is unhinged, and it really fills me with a great Christmas joy. That whole song is just bop, 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 bop. It's amazing.
As long as you don't play Happy Christmas. So isn't that the one with the
or Christmas shoes?
Beatles
Either one. Christmas shoes.
The Happy Christmas
one.
And so happy Christmas, war is over.
You don't like that song? You love war?
Oh, I'm anti-war typically, but I have warred on that song. I think it's terrible.
Wow. Okay. Jason just said he's glad John Lennon's dead.
No, I just want that song to be dead. I gladly exchange that song to be dead.
To have the rest of John
rotation
Lennon? Yeah, sure. No, that makes sense.
For him to be back.
I'd make that trade,
That seems like an easy exchange. Apparently you won't. Apparently you're the one that's glad he's dead. I offered to exchange one song in his catalog for him to return, and you said no. It's too big of a deal on Christmas to have somebody say Happy Christmas.
Oh, is that the part that you just don't like? It's Happy
No, it's not
Christmas?
even the part.
Okay.
No, it's just, I don't know. Just don't need to hear it.
That's fine. Wonderful Christmas Time is my preferred Beatle-based Christmas tune.
Yeah, no, that's good. I've got my specific, songs, 20, 25 Christmas songs that keep in the rotation constantly. So, and those really won't change. There's nothing new that's coming out right now that'll, infiltrate that.
I'll make one. Christmas music is your forte much more than mine, but I was recently made aware of. I got to get the exact title right because I actually cracked the album open this morning. Thought maybe it's almost Christmas time for me. I believe it's called Christmas Unicorn by Sufjan Stevens. It's wild. I don't know how to explain it, but I know you need to listen to it at least once. I think it's like 7 minutes.
Okay. Christmas Unicorn.
I guess I have a real love for unhinged Christmas songs is what I'm figuring out.
Clearly.
I guess that makes sense. I'm just not realizing it, though.
Yeah. 913-912-4810. And, Treacherous 3, go check that out. Santa Rap. Okay. We could play a little bit of that on the show today.
I feel like we're gonna have
Probably
to.
The first
30
seconds or so.
Yeah, we'll work on that. That will happen today.
It's phenomenal. Or we can just go watch Beat Street and watch the scene. That'd be fine too. All right, let's get into the show. At 11:23.
Yeah, listen, it's a Christmas
10:23
show.
your time.
Yeah. It'd be worse if it was 11:23 my time. That's fair.
You know what? It might be. We'll talk with Matt Derrick at 11 o'clock, and typically right after we start our conversation with Matt Derrick, it's time to end the conversation. This one's just going to have to be a little bit earlier. I definitely want to talk about what the Chiefs can accomplish on Monday in the Raiders game. Obviously, win, et cetera. What happens if that doesn't take place, et cetera. I'm going to get into that as well. But just some quick notes on college basketball. I had mentioned, keeping track of K-State and Wichita State and the game last night. And to me, the game, going into it was about just find a way to win by one. If you can win the game by 1 point, it doesn't really matter. Bounce back from what was embarrassing in the loss to Nebraska in what was, 12 points in the second half, and you're not going up against Virginia's Tony Bennett, where they're going to slow the ball, just take the air out of the basketball and play the pack line defense and not give up any points. Nothing wrong with, Nebraska ball or anything, but you score 12 points in the second half. You got to be better. And it was incredibly disappointing. And to bounce back there when there's, the largest crowd at T-Mobile to watch the Cats showed up last night because they went to the Christmas party on Wednesday, apparently. So they all showed up last night, as they should. And K-State gave a good performance, man. I mean, Wichita State was game, and they tried to make runs. And credit to Kansas State for holding them at bay. And last night is one of those perfect examples of when you look at the free throw disparity, you can get really lazy in analysis and just go, well, I mean, you got K-State making more free throws than Wichita State even attempted. I mean, 29 free throws for K-State. Wichita had 8 or 9. I mean, come on, that thing was so lopsided. But if you're watching the game, it's why I don't get into, well, this team has 25 fouls in the game and that team had 15. Well, somebody's getting screwed there. No, it was obvious K-State was attacking from whatever was happening in that Nebraska game and maybe getting a little too complacent, maybe just not bringing it because there are going to be some stinkers that college basketball players lay from time to time, that you bounce back and go, all right, we're going to grind and we are going to work each possession. And if that means we're getting into the paint, getting buckets, playing tough basketball, and getting some easier shots as well, setting up teammates, and putting Wichita State in tough positions to where they ended up fouling. It wasn't as if it was just a physical football game and the refs were only calling one side. K-State was the more aggressive team. And that's how you can keep a team that might be there playing with you and wanting to make runs. You can stop those by, 15-0 run is vastly different than a 15-5 run. Those 5 points make a huge difference, in the life of a 40-minute basketball game. And I just do, credit to K-State for doing that last night and playing that way because it's what we talked about yesterday. When you've got, 10 days off, I mean, K-State's next game is January 2nd. So you play last night and you're getting ready to take a pretty decent break. That's the same thing with KU tonight against Yale. Mizzou, Illinois is different because that's a big game. But both Mizzou and KU, their next games are a week from Saturday. So they've got 8 days between games tonight. So there's a little bit of guarding against that. It would have made more sense if K-State played last night or played the way they did last night against Nebraska and then played against Wichita State the way they did against Nebraska, if that makes sense. Because you'd be heading into the holiday season and you'd be like, all right, well, they little senioritis, but good on them bouncing back, playing that way. And just getting a win and now enjoy a little time off makes it a little better. And then come back ready to go on January 2nd. But it was a nice bounce back for K-State, and you could tell that they were the more aggressive team. That was clearly the game plan for Jerome Tang last night.
And look, I mean, not that they should have needed any juice to get up for Nebraska at home, but I do think being at T-Mobile against an in-state rival, like you would hope that was going to bring some aggressiveness and some focus that would offset the little bit of like, oh, it's almost wonderful Christmas time over here, and to be able to see them do that. Free throw disparity often being an example of style of play and not just style of refereeing, all very valid.
Yep. Let's take a time out. We'll come back, and I want to get into the game coming up on Monday, Chiefs and Raiders. We'll continue rolling on this Friday edition. We'll talk with Matt Derrick at 11 o'clock. Chiefs press conferences around 11:45, 11:50. Mick Schaefer coming up in the noon hour, and we got the cuts before the show is over. More Zone coming along next. Well, I'll tell you what. Some home cooked meals have been really good this week, but I also missed the home cooked meals of Guaranteed Foods. Now, I have not been having to make any of the meals here, so it is not like there's anything added to my plate except for the seconds, but anything added to my plate for making the food. So I'm not exactly complaining from that standpoint. But I think people here at the house certainly would enjoy the convenience of Guaranteed Foods if we had brought that with us. But no, we're not going to do that. We're keeping that for when we get home, baby. 180-day supply of food sitting out there in the Guaranteed Foods Heavy-Duty Commercial Food Service Center with America's finest home food service. We save money on our monthly grocery bill because of working with Guaranteed Foods. It is not a one-size-fits-all. They'll come in, they'll look at your budget, see what you're spending on groceries, going to restaurants, fast food, drive-through, ordering in, things like that, and come up with a budget for how much you'll eat this food. You'll still go to some restaurants and things like that, and create that to where you might even be saving money. And if you're spending a little bit more, you may do that. It sort of depends on what you want. Maybe you want to spend a little bit more. You're getting more nutritious and better food than if you were just buying these things from the grocery store. It's over 600 restaurant quality gourmet products to choose from, including 100% all natural meats, fruits, and vegetables, and the convenience of preparing things from frozen and having it all there at your fingertips at the, go to the freezer and stays at a constant 0 degrees and frozen. And you take that out, individual portions, and go and make the food. It's fantastic, and I'm convinced that if you give them a shot, you'll see all of the things that we have benefited from as well. Give them a call, 913-888-5000 or GuaranteedFoods.com. It's Guaranteed Foods. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. 913-888-5000. Guaranteed Foods, delivering all natural food to Midwestern families since 1958. It's a bulging, beastly man in a blue leisure suit, and his plates were from Kansas. Oh, yeah, Here Comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. Right down Santa Claus Lane.
I forgot that Kansas takes quite a ricochet shot there.
Yeah,
totally.
Scene.
I told my wife, I'm like, you being a huge Christmas Vacation fan and you and your family always quoting that line, you're welcome for having Kansas plates. You're welcome. All I got to do is buy you a blue leisure suit. All right? Plates were from Kansas. All right, let's get into some of the Raiders fans whose plates may be from California or Nevada. I'm not sure. But they're 10-point favorites still coming up this weekend. I'll end up taking the Chiefs minus the points. So we'll do that later on in the show. But I just, we've talked about them playing themselves and sort of what they can, or even switching those words, what can they accomplish this weekend? Because what they can accomplish, okay, you clean some things up, do this. But does that count as accomplishing things in somebody's mind? So, they can go out and do some things that would maybe make themselves feel better or show a little momentum heading into the postseason. But, what it would be is, one, winning the game and winning the division. That's still a big deal. But if you're able to clean up some of the issues, defense get off to a quicker start. What I would like to see, and, it just doesn't happen, I would like to see the Chiefs just go out and beat a team. Just go punk them. Just go and win from start to finish. I know it happened in the Bears game. But go and not fall behind 14-0 to the Raiders. And the final 36 minutes of that game, the Chiefs outscored the Raiders 31-3. Like, jump out to a 31-3 lead and then put in the backups, and then it's 31-17 final. That feels a lot better, right? That feels a lot better than being down 14-0 and then going on a 31-3 run for whatever reason. The game still took place the way the game took place, but that first part of the game when you're wanting to see how they play, how they're coming out, what they look like, and the defense isn't getting a stop. Josh Jacobs has a big, breakaway run. Raiders even miss a field goal that it could have been 17-0. And then the Chiefs were like, all right, let's go play. Let's go do this. And they beat them 31-3 because that's how better they are, how much better they are than the Raiders. And I don't care, Raiders after the game saying they were the better team because they have dogs in the locker room or whatever. That's fine. They can think they're the better team, but they got destroyed from the final 36 minutes of that game. They were up 14-0. Nice start. But then they lost 31-3 in essentially a half of football. So you can't really claim that you're the better team there. But I'd like to see him go and dominate, and then, I don't know, what's the wide receiver rotation look like? And get out of there on Christmas healthy. There you go. That's, I don't know, Josh, what can they accomplish? What's the significance of this game this weekend? And is it all about, hey, don't lose?
Yeah, because it also, obviously, you can take it back to the Patriots game, and that 4-game window is sort of underwhelming. But something I was talking about with Teicher on Tuesday that has stuck with me the last few days is that, look, regardless of the opponent, let me ask you this question this way. Fun trivia question. How many teams have beaten the Chiefs this year multiple times?
I'm going to say 0.
It's the wrong answer, Jason. One team has beaten the Chiefs multiple times this year, and they play them 3 more times the rest of this year. It's the Chiefs. They are the only team who can reasonably say that they have beaten the Chiefs multiple times this year, and they could continue to do that the rest of the way. So regardless of who the actual opponent is, the Chiefs play themselves 3 more times. And so they can't prove that they can play a perfect, clean game of football against the Bills in January. They can't prove that on Monday. But they can prove that they have played a clean game against themselves. And that is still worth something, especially when we spend as much time as we do understanding that a lot of the Chiefs' issues have been self-inflicted. So I know it is kind of a kitschy answer of, we got to work on ourselves and all of that. But for the Chiefs, I think that's more true than most teams. You obviously cannot lose, but it would be really, really nice to be able to end the season on 3 pretty clean football games that make you believe that you might actually be able to sustain that in the playoffs.
Yeah, and Blaine Gabbert making the comparison to the Bucs, and I brought that up with Matt Lane yesterday, and, is there a comparison, just simply asking Matt, And if you look, at that season for the Bucks and what they were doing and how they ended up ending the season, I mean, they started off 6-2, did the Bucks, and then they went 1-3, and in that stretch was against the Chiefs. When they ended up losing that game, but fell behind early, made a comeback. Chiefs, helped some teams stay in some games, but they went 1-3 over that stretch. And then they played their final 4 games of the season against non-playoff teams whose records were a combined 20-44. Man. And the Bucks went 4-0, went into the playoffs, and then went 4-0 again. What did they prove in those 4 games against non-playoff teams when they had gone 1-3? Unless they proved to themselves, hey, this is what it looks like when we go out and play good football. Let's just keep that rolling, and you get some confidence like that built up. But they didn't play a team the caliber that they were about to face for 4 games over the next 5 weeks or whatever it ended up being. Or was that the year that there wasn't a bye between? I can't remember. The whole COVID year. But that was a team that was struggling and then played 4 teams that didn't make the playoffs. Chiefs, at least, in these final 4 games, are going to play at least one team that could make the playoffs, in the Bengals. And so, we'll see what happens. But, yeah, they're playing themselves 3 more times. But it doesn't mean that if they get some things accomplished, those will just simply go away when they play better teams. Because, as Blaine Gabbert pointed out, that's not what happened with the Bucks in 2020. They carried that against non-playoff teams and then carried that, winning streak and that feel into the playoffs and went and won games. They had Tom Brady. It's nice to have a franchise quarterback. Luckily, the Chiefs have that. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from Lee Sterling and Todd Lebo coming up next.
You don't want to be a late shopper, but the good news is there's still time to get a great gift from Greenlight Dispensary. Maybe you're just treating yourself this holiday season, because adult use at Greenlight's 21 and over with a valid ID, including out-of-state IDs, and they can even help you get your Missouri medical card for some perks available to medical patients if you haven't gotten that re-upped in a while. But the folks at Greenlight are the absolute best, and the folks in Missouri have told you that many times over, myself included, because of the great care that the bud tenders at Greenlight will give to you if maybe you're a newbie. Maybe you've got some questions about what the cannabis experience might look like for you. And we're talking about what you're putting under the tree. How about just getting the tree? How about that? Huh? Maybe not. But regardless, if you don't know where to begin at Greenlight Dispensary. Ask the bud tenders what's right for you. They'll ask you some questions. You can give them your experiences, your desired effects, and everything you want from that process. They will be the people to lead you down the right direction. Or you just want to stock up before the holidays get completely up and running here before Christmas hits. Well, just go ahead and go to greenlightdispensary.com. Check out the menu there. See all the deals they have. Plus, every purchase you make sends loyalty rewards points to your loyalty wallet, which is an incredible deal because you can use that on anything at Greenlight. And I feel like just about every time I'm able to take a little bit off that final tally. It's a great setup. They're great people and great product, all at Greenlight Dispensary. Check them out online at greenlightdispensary.com. That's greenlightdispensary.com.
Find out from national sports handicapping champion Lee Sterling on The Zone. Log on to ParamountSports.com or call toll-free 800-400-9741 to get started.
Welcome back into The Zone on this Red Friday. It's a weird Red Friday. The Chiefs don't play until Monday, but it's Red Friday nonetheless. And it's a great time to talk to Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports because December is winding down, but there's still time to double it all down, isn't there, Lee?
It's been an incredible year. We're documented 101, 68, and 3 on the year. Works out to exactly a little above 60%. No one in the country can match that record. So anyone telling you they're hitting 75, 80%, it can't be done. And then on top of that, we've done extremely well on our best plays. Our 35 to 50 unit selections were 8 and 2 this year on those. So it's really like hitting 62, 63%. It's almost 2 out of every 3 games we've won this year. So you want to hop on board, still time. You get through the 31st of the month. We have, I think it's like 24, 25 bowl games. We'll have selection on probably 15 to 17 of those. And also 2 weeks of the NFL. Normally $347, not even $247, $147 for everything through December 31st. One place, ParamountSports.com.
That sounds great. We do have some bowl action coming up involving our local teams, so let's get after it. Let's go right with the Kansas Jayhawks first. They're playing UNLV. Kansas is a big favorite in this one, and bowl games will be weird this year. You got to find out who's interested, right? Who's opting out, who's not. KU's got a lot of guys playing, so this should be a full-strength Jayhawk team.
Well, who would want most of the guys on the defense? So, in fact, UNLV defense is much worse. Probably one of the worst run defenses we've seen in a long, long time. Here's the problem also. When you play a team that's more talented than you, when you have more possessions, and they call their offense, Barry Odom is a defensive-minded coach, but he's kept, going with what they had going on offense. They call it the go-go offense. They try to get things snapped within 10 to 15 seconds. You got more snaps. Your defense is going to get worn down, and generally the team with more talent is going to take you out here. Lance Leipold done a great job at Kansas this year. In 3 seasons, he's taken the Jayhawks from win totals of 2 to 6 to 8. And they actually had a winning conference record this year, which most people didn't expect. And they did it without Jalen Daniels, who there is a chance might play in this game, even if he doesn't. Jason Bean's done a great job. He's averaged over 9.8 yards per attempt, throwing the football, 12 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions, and he's averaged 6.3 yards running the football. So I think this is a step up in competition for UNLV. They got ragdolled by Boise State in the conference championship game, and I don't think they can slow down the Jayhawks here. Sometimes you got to lay it if you want to play it, even in a bowl game. Kansas 44, UNLV 24.
And let's talk about K-State. They're playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl against NC State. This is an interesting one. Dave Doran, the NC State coach, was a Jayhawk, right? So they got a little something going here on that one. K-State doesn't have all their guys. And they've got a lot of opt-outs, a lot of transfer portal stuff. I don't know what to expect from the Cats.
I love the name of the nickname Pop-Tart Bowls. I was a top Pop-Tart kid when I was a kid. You?
Love Pop-Tarts, absolutely.
What was your favorite?
I like blueberry and also like brown sugar cinnamon.
Okay, so I like brown sugar cinnamon. I like strawberry, but blueberry, and then I think certain times of the year they used to have like the frosting, the white frosting on top.
Oh, yeah.
So my mom would tell me I made you, oatmeal or grits. I'm like, no, just give me the blueberry, Pop-Tarts, and I'm ready to go.
I'll be on my way, absolutely.
I wish I was playing because I'd love to get some of those treats and take them home. So first time these two teams have crossed paths here. Main sidebar to this one is that Kansas State, you talked about the transfer portal. They got bit big time. Will Howard, the biggest problem, he's going to be missing this game. Over 2,600 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, among many other players. Their best running back and a couple key guys on defense who was already without their best player, their linebacker for the year. So this North Carolina State team pretty much has their entire lineup. We're going to see Brendan Armstrong. He's going to be quarterbacking for this one. A lot of people familiar with him when he was at Virginia here. And they finished the season. Their defense was great. I mean, down the stretch. They went 7-1 against the spread. I think they keep rolling here. They're just going to eat the clock here. Brendan Armstrong doesn't find anyone open. He'll run for first downs. Been around for 5 years. So we're going to go with North Carolina State here. I think they get the job done here. 28-20.
All right, let's talk a little National Football League with Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. It's Double Down December, and we've got Christmas Day and Christmas Eve games. Let's start with a Christmas night game. This is a big one. San Francisco hosting Baltimore. Frisco's laying 5.5.
Yeah, here's the problem, I think, for San Francisco. They're going to face a team that might be the best team in the NFL. These are the best two teams, both probably going to be number one seeds, but this Baltimore pass defense is really good. Number one in the NFL, allowing just 4.9 yards per attempt. San Francisco's offense, best yards per attempt at 9.8. Well, the second best yards per attempt defense faced the San Francisco defense, and they found a way, Cleveland, to beat the 49ers. Also, Baltimore, 15-3-2. That's 83.3% as an underdog. Very rarely are they dogs since 2019. In fact, 5-1-1 to the number here since the beginning of 2002. So this is a great situational play, I feel, here for San Francisco. Could be a Super Bowl preview. And then on offense, the Ravens, 23 rushing touchdowns so far this year. They've rushed for at least 100 yards in 30 straight games here. And Lamar Jackson against the NFC, they don't get to see him often. He's 19-1, straight up here. The Ravens permitted a low. This is the entire season. These are teams that have played 14 games, 20 touchdowns on the season here. I think San Francisco is great. Just think Baltimore's a little bit better, and they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. A bunch of players even made comments when they were shocked that they found out they were a big underdog here. Wrong team favored. Baltimore wins this game outright 27-23.
Well, all the Chiefs fans are Niners fans this week, so that won't make them happy on Christmas night. Now, Christmas Eve, they're all rooting against the Dolphins, too. They need them to pick up a loss as well. Miami's a very slight favorite at home against Dallas.
Yeah, and these two teams sitting at 10-4 have not beaten really anyone good except for Dallas beating Philadelphia. Dolphins have not beaten a team with a winning record. So the Cowboys, I think their best hope here on defense of slowing down Miami is obviously Tyreek Hill not playing. But it looks like he's trending towards playing in this game. And they're going to have to maybe force some turnovers. Once in a while, you got to get pressure on Tua, and if you get pressure on Tua, once in a while he'll throw an interception or two. And they have speed on the edge. They've got to make sure Raheem Mostert, who has a Dolphins team record of 20 touchdowns on the year, that he doesn't get to the edge. I think it's going to be tough here. You got to wonder if Leon Lett's watching this one game. That game was 30 years ago. So even without Tyreek Hill, the Dolphins toyed with the Jets last week in Miami, won 30-0. And they're actually off to the best start, 10-4 since 2000. This is the biggest game in Dolphins history since 2000, 23 years. So the crowd looks like it's going to be pumped here. Dallas has lost 4 of the last 6 road games. Also 2-8 on grass since the start of last season. Weather should be perfect here. I think Miami's that speed team here, and I think Miami finally beats a team here with a winning record behind a charged crowd. I like Miami, 27-21.
Now, regardless of what happens with, Baltimore and Miami this week, the Chiefs just have to win games, okay?
Right.
And they're playing Christmas morning at noon here against the Raiders. And I don't know what we learned about the Chiefs last week. They won, but they didn't look all that great. They're 10-point favorite again against the Raiders. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, Chiefs, believe it or not, have failed to cover 5 of the last 6 times they've been favored. But just think that this Vegas team, even though they won 63-21 over the Chargers, without Justin Herbert, I thought it seemed like they were on a mission to get their head coach fired. If that was their mission, they certainly succeeded. The Raiders set up to backfire here. 5 of their 9 touchdowns versus the Chargers came on drives that started in Charger territory. It was fun. Now the Chargers, their rearview mirror that game here. The Raiders have lost 6 in a row. And 10 of the last 11 and 16 of the last 18 to Kansas City on Thanksgiving weekend. If you remember the game, Raiders 14-0 lead to the Chiefs. 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. They lost 31-17. I think Kansas City, the offense, starting to get it going a little bit here. Win and cover again, 28-10.
That'd be a nice Christmas for the Chiefs fans. Yep. A nice Christmas for all the Chiefs fans. Would be get a free game of the week this week and Double Down December. What's going on, man?
So, like like I said, we're going to keep this thing rolling in the right direction. You can get, it's going to be a total of probably 16, 17, 18 bowl selections from now through the 31st. We're already off to a quick start there. And also, if you want to get going in the NFL, not too late. We've only had 3 losing weekends in the NFL. We want to combine 13 of 17 weeks in football. Call it Double Down December. Everything through December 31st on our phone service. Just $147. Normally $347. One place, ParamountSports.com. And if you want to get our free game this week is going to be Denver and New England. Denver's laying 6.5 points to New England. Does Denver get back on the winning track, or can New England pull the shocker? Just one place. Call 800-400-9741.
That sounds great. Let's stuff those stockings with some cash. Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports right here on The Zone. More Zone coming up next.
makes everybody feel that way. Everybody that's seen it, everybody with a heart and a brain.
Yeah, me and Dylan both. We're both just jamming back here to the song from one of our favorite Christmas season films.
Absolutely. Again, everybody with a heart and a brain has seen Christmas Vacation.
And the part, of course. I didn't think. Sorry, Jason. I didn't think I had to say the name of the movie because we all have seen it.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's get into our conversation with Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest and 41 is the Mike podcast, joining us here in the zone before he gets ready for the press conferences coming our way later on this hour with coordinators and players. Matt, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
I was doing really, really well until I realized that I think he's bluffing. I mean, I don't think that Joshua has seen Christmas Vacation.
Whoa! You're a reporter, Matt. That's pretty irresponsible.
Lie. Do you have a second source?
I don't. This is just jet reporter instinct here.
Media reporting these days, it's ridiculous. You're so quick to want to be first that you don't even know if you're right or not.
Okay, here's my question. Here's my question to you, Joshua, and you'll be able and this will confirm my information. Why was the carpet wet?
I don't know that I can answer that on the radio.
See, you haven't seen the movie.
What movie?
Yeah.
See, exactly.
The answer would be, I don't know, Margot. Well, something had to break the window. Something had to smash the stereo.
Probably like a snowball or something.
Well, it would be ice.
I'm also a little disappointed in you, Jason, because as you know, your name's on the show. So, I mean, upon learning that Josh has not seen Christmas Vacation, how you did not just order him on the clock to go watch Christmas Vacation, I'm kind of disappointed in you too, Chad as well. To me, this is a breakdown in leadership.
Lack of institutional control.
Where is the accountability, Jason? Where's the accountability?
Coach accountability. Am I good? You know what? Fine. I'm going to self-impose a suspension of Monday's show for me. I will not show up to Monday's show. Self-imposed suspension.
You want to also suspend me for Monday, Jason?
You're
I'm going to go ahead and I'll go ahead and accept it now. So I don't want to have to litigate this. I don't want it to get messy. So I'll also go ahead and I'll self-impose a Monday suspension also.
See, if we worked Monday, we would just sit here and watch Christmas Vacation together and just talk about it.
Well, that would be a very productive use of your time. That would be making diamonds out of coal.
And you know what? That's what Andy Reid will do when you ask him about the fine that he received, and Matt Derrick just setting it up for him. Nice. Way to go, Matt. Matt Derrick is our guest. What did you I don't know. What did Sunday's game do for you against the Patriots, if anything?
Not a lot. I mean, I think the Chiefs won a game they should have won. So I don't know if there's any one game conclusions we can really take away from it. I mean, the only thing offensively that you can really say that you feel pretty good about is that there weren't as many penalties. That was nice. But obviously they still had a mistake that cost them, a couple of mistakes that cost them. The offense wasn't perfect. I mean, it was better, but I mean, they need more. The defense was really the way it usually is. It's pretty good. I didn't have really a lot of quibbles with the defense. Once again, maybe it took them a little bit to settle in, but I don't know. I mean, it seemed a lot like even the last few games, whether the Chiefs have won or lost, and that this was just a team that wasn't on the same level as what they've been playing. But I didn't see a whole lot of difference. I mean, I need to see something more. I mean, I need the 27 points for the offense is great, but they need to do that against an opponent that doesn't have 3 wins. I mean, they need to do this against somebody else. And doing it against the Raiders would be great as well. But once again, I mean, I think it needs to be a more dramatic statement than that.
So the way they have played the last 6 quarters or so, so it would be, I guess minute 19 to go in the first half against the Bills, when the Chiefs scored to make it 14-7 going into half. So from that point until the end of the Patriots game, they scored 44 points over those 6 quarters, roughly 30 points per game is what you'd be looking at in these 2 games against the Bills and against the Patriots. Does that change anything for you when we look at it that way, as opposed to, the struggles at the end of the game against the Bills, the fumble, the settling for a field goal, the then 3 and out, and then, of course, the final possession that was an offsides, and then they couldn't get back into field goal range. That's a tough way to end that one. And then the Patriots, sort of a tough way to start, and they had some struggles in the second half at times, but they could have put another touchdown on the board or another field goal. Does it change your perspective at all if you look at it that way, or is that just trying to gloss up, a turd and grasping at straws and trying to find silver linings that may not actually be there?
I mean, that to me is a little bit of trying to find a silver lining, because I would probably then say, okay, well, let's take a look at the 6 quarters before that.
Right, absolutely.
Because then when you look at the last 12 quarters, all of a sudden it looks like pretty pedestrian offensive performance. Yep. So it'd be great if they could put 6 more quarters. They're pretty good. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they don't have to do on a Monday, on a Christmas Day again. You can't do that anymore on a Christmas Day, thankfully.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
Can't play double overtime anymore. No, I mean, I need to see more. They got 3 games left. I mean, if the next 3 games were just like the Patriots game, I'd be comfortable with that going into the playoffs. But, we just need to see some consistency from this offense. We need to see some efficiency from this offense. We need to see fewer mistakes from this offense. But because honestly, I mean, these are 3 games that they should absolutely put some points up.
What do they hang their hat on offensively moving forward? Mahomes, Rice, Kelsey, running backs, and that's really it. We saw the Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jerick McKinnon combining for 7 catches, 83 yards, 2 touchdowns. If that's your third weapon to go along with Kelsey and Rice, is that enough for you if that's what they're moving forward and shortening the bench a little bit with guys? And if Sky Moore's out, then does that mean somebody has to fill those exact reps, or does that mean that there's more for some of the guys that you want to have more involved in the offense? What do they hang their hat on, and what are you looking for these final 3 weeks offensively?
I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that, it's a kind of 3-headed horse right now. I mean, it's Kelsey, it's Rice in the backfield. That's absolutely what you're leaning on in this point. If you can, and this is probably on the low end, but I was thinking, hey, if you can get 150 yards out of Rice and Kelsey combined, you can get 100 yards out of your backfield. Okay, you're 250. That's not great for this offense, but that's enough to win in this league. And then you get the rest from everybody else. I mean, hey, that's what it is. And Justin Watson has a nice game, and MVS has a catch, and Noah Gray does some things. Hey, you can get the 400 yards doing that. But if you get the 350, that'd even be fine. That should win you some games as well with the way your defense is playing. But I think that's the bare minimum that you're hoping for. That if you can get at least 250 from that group, and then the other guys can cobble together something. But I think those are the 3 elements that you absolutely have to lean on, because those are the 3 elements that have been producing consistently throughout the season.
One of the issues with wanting to rely on running backs in the passing game, and look, it's not like the 49ers don't do that. They have saturated their offense with playmakers all over the field, one of those being a phenomenal running back in the passing game. When you've got Kelsey, who is aging, and you've got Rashee Rice, who is a rookie, and you've got some running backs that all 3 of them, have gone through their injuries in their career. I mean, Jerick McKinnon's already, had issues this year. He's not practicing. Isaiah Pacheco's missed a couple of games. Edwards-Helaire has had, different spurts in his career where he's missed time in stretches of football. That, attrition is there for every single team in the NFL, and we've seen that affect and impact teams that would be in the hunt for playoffs or the Super Bowl that are not, because injuries sort of debilitating those teams. So we know that. But if we're going to look at this team and say Rice, Kelsey, and the running backs, well, Pacheco is a very physical guy, and Jerick McKinnon's getting older, and now he's missing another practice with the groin injury. That if something were to happen there, now all of a sudden, you wonder, how deep those weapons can go and how much of a hanging your hat on that. Because I think Jerick McKinnon on third down has been pretty awesome because he's one of the better pass protectors. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has done some things in the passing game that's good, but I don't trust him to pass protect Patrick Mahomes the way that I do with Jerick McKinnon. And I don't need Isaiah Pacheco to be a 3-down back if the Chiefs want to play into February.
Yeah, and I think that's something that obviously you have to watch out for over the next few weeks, is just kind of how you manage Isaiah Pacheco's work and everything. The tough thing is that of those 3 backs, I think you got 2 of them in Pacheco and Clyde that are both, need work to get into rhythm. I mean, that's what I think makes it hard for a running back by committee sometimes, is that if you've got a couple of guys like that who need work to get into a rhythm, well, if you give one enough work to do that, then the other one's not getting enough work. And if you try and divvy it up, you may end up not giving either one of them enough work to get into rhythm. So, at least the ideal thing you have is McKinnon, I think, is one of those guys that's not like that. I mean, you can just kind of plug and play him where you need to. And again, I'm sure they'll try to manage his time a little bit too, which probably does mean a little bit more at Clyde. And maybe you design some things specifically for him. I mean, everybody's been maybe this is just because everybody's been kind of suggesting to me this week and asking, why can't Clyde play, a little bit more slot, or why can't you use him at the Z like you were prepared to do in the Super Bowl if you had to? I mean, it's not a permanent solution. I mean, it's a Band-Aid. But maybe there's some worthwhile things that you can do out there. Maybe it is putting Clyde into the game in passing situations and splitting him out. Maybe it's giving him some drives so Pacheco can have a little bit more time off. I mean, again, I think you run the risk of maybe diminishing both of their effectiveness. But I think it's something you may have to consider, just to, one, protect Pacheco, and two, keep Clyde involved. But again, I mean, but when it comes back to getting the yards, I don't care how you get him out of the backfield. I mean, if you get 65 yards on a Clyde on screen plays, who cares? I mean, that's 65 yards. Take them, because those are 65 yards you haven't been getting necessarily. But to me, I wouldn't close the door on any idea, no matter how crazy it may seem.
Well, and a big part of last year, late in the season, fantasy purpose and others, Jerick McKinnon was a big part of the passing game and was catching touchdowns. And then, into the playoffs and on into the Super Bowl with the awesome play of sliding at the 1-yard line that scared Patrick Mahomes. Like, he thought he was going to score, but slides at the 1-yard line and makes those plays. He was a big part of what the Chiefs did down the stretch. And there's sort of been are they keeping him fresh for the stretch run? And if that's even part of the conversation, can Dave Toub not find anybody else to play special teams besides Jerick McKinnon running down and playing on twice in the game on Sunday? The play was over and Jerick McKinnon was slow to pull himself up off the turf. Like, is he that much more valuable to you on special teams than he is if you were to lose him for the season on offense? No, not at all. Get him off special teams, man. Pacheco's out for 2 games. You can't find somebody to go and cover kicks as a special teams coordinator, kick into the end zone or whatever. But just it's frustrating. I know McKinnon is a good special teamer, and it's one of the things that they loved when they signed him. But they took Kadarius Toney off punt returns because they wanted to use him more as a wide receiver. Well, the best thing he does is a punt returner. So use Richie James more as a wide receiver and Kadarius Toney as a punt returner. So if you're willing to take away special teams because you're going to use that person more on the offense, then get Jerick McKinnon off special teams and leave him be and let him be fresh as being a running back.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to put a deflated football into the end zone for a touchback chase.
So, that's a good point. I digress. Keep him out there. McKinnon's got to be out there to cover the kick.
That was all the plan. I mean, maybe the Patriots were like, hey, we want to make sure McKinnon has to cover these kicks, so, hey, let's deflate that football a little bit. See if we can't work on that groin a little. Good conspiracy theory. No, I mean, and that's probably one of those things that the Chiefs should look at, because they've got that in a couple of places where, they kind of let the players pull themselves out of situations, and there's probably a few like that with McKinnon on special teams that you could just do that for him. But I mean, the one thing that you said that I'm all for, and I think would probably be a smart idea, would be switching basically Toney and Richie James. Just let Toney be the return specialist for a couple of games. Let Richie James concentrate on wide receiver and see what he can do. I mean, I'm just been perplexed that the Chiefs have never really given Richie James any kind of a chance this year to show what he's got. And maybe he hasn't earned it. Maybe it's just been in practice. He hasn't been consistent. Maybe he hasn't shown them and demonstrated the knowledge of the offense and the playbook. I don't know. I mean, I got to think there's a reason why he hasn't been getting chances, because, Matt Nagy, Andy Reid, those guys are a lot smarter than I am. But I just he's a guy that I want to see more of, and maybe he is one of those game day guys. but I know that's a guy that has in the past consistently caught the football and made plays. So I kind of want to see if he can do it in real life.
Yeah, I mean, he played 2 snaps on Sunday. One of those snaps was a play designed for him. I mean, he was lined up in the slot.
17 yards.
Yes, it was like 2nd and 9, and they took the snap, and Mahomes, rolled left and waited for Richie James to get out of his break, threw the ball, caught it, slipped a tackle, picked up 17 yards. Okay, well, see you next week, Richie. It just seems odd as opposed to Kadarius Toney throwing the ball, and there's the other team that caught it. Let's switch those things up. We'll see if they do that. And I know people are like, well, if Richie James can't catch the football from Mahomes, catch a punt, he's been pretty solid at catching a punt. And he's been, the Eagles had to be peeing every time the punt was in the air and Kadarius Toney was back there on that, Monday night after the bye, because he was just breaking tackles and slipping tackles and juking guys and, picking up yards over expected on the punt return. I was like, wow, this guy was close to breaking one. And we saw what he could do in the Super Bowl. So let him do that. If you're going to return punts, put somebody back there that you feel like actually is a difference maker. Richie James is fine. I feel secure when he's catching the punts. Okay. My view is obviously don't have a punt returner. But if you do, let Kadarius Toney be that guy. Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest, 41 is the Mike podcast as well. You can go and listen to Matt Derrick. He's presented by Cap One Lending. Freedom Loan at Cap One Lending. The exclusive loan helps you pay your home off in less than half the time. Gives you access to your home's equity without having to refinance. Go to caponelending.com. Matt, this year, the offense, what we've seen, and the skill position players and the playmakers. San Francisco is the opposite approach of the Chiefs. Now they've got a rookie contract quarterback, etc. But Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey out on the field, and Brock Purdy, feeding them the football in the flow of the offense. And they have gone the route of we're just going to put a bunch of playmakers out there on the field and get guys in space, and this offense is going to be next to unstoppable. And the Chiefs had the approach, and again, I will offer the caveat. I don't think the approach for the Chiefs was, we're good at wide receiver, let's go draft Rashee Rice or whoever in the second round and call it good. I think the approach was, let's get this done with Chris Jones and take that money and go get another wide receiver. I don't know for a fact that that's the case, but whatever the plan was for the Chris Jones money that they were going to free up, it did not come to fruition. But was last year, in your mind, Matt, with essentially what feels like the same group of guys offensively, Juju Smith-Schuster for Rashee Rice, almost the same group of guys, was last year or this year the outlier? Meaning last year when you didn't have a bunch of playmakers on the field, yet the offense was still number one and incredibly efficient, and Patrick Mahomes wins the MVP? Or is this year the outlier where, you don't have guys out there, but it shouldn't be this bad in turnovers and drop passes? Which one, if you're guessing moving forward, is more of the season you say, that's probably more of the norm, this year or last year?
Good question. I mean, because I almost want to take a middle ground and just say that there's a mean in there somewhere. And maybe last year was an above mean year, and this year is a down mean year. I mean, you would technically call this the regression to the mean year, but that doesn't mean that either one of them is typical. I mean, and there are other elements that have changed too. I mean, the offensive line had a couple of new pieces, and to me, I don't think there's any doubt that is one impact on this offense. Even though I don't think that Donovan Smith and Jawan Taylor and now Wanya Morris, I don't think that it's a dramatically one way or the other better or worse offensive line, but it's different. It's a different pocket. It's a different setup for Mahomes. And I think that has been an adjustment period for everybody, because it definitely affects Mahomes and it affects his timing and delivery and, what he's able to do on schedule. So, I mean, that to me, and where he scrambles, I mean, I think that's a factor. But, it also isn't completely in isolation. I mean, you really didn't have McCole Hardman for any amount of time this year. So even though he was out for half of last year, you at least had him for half a year last year. So there was a little bit of a difference. Some of these guys like MVS is a year older. I mean, I get that he's still Andy Reid will say he's still a young guy, but at the same time, I mean, 6 years in the league, I mean, wear and tear adds up. The wear and tear on Travis Kelce is adding up. I mean, that's a factor as well. So I mean, like I said, to me, it's not a complete and total vacuum that we're looking at it in. But then, it comes into the question, hey, do you just have bad luck of a bunch of guys maybe having down years or not clicking the way you want? I mean, Sky Moore has been almost the exact same receiver he was last year. I mean, he didn't change at all. Maybe that's bad. I mean, maybe that's an indicator that coaching is an issue. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, I don't think it's just one lever. I mean, I think it's a whole lot of different things. Because there's nothing you can point to that say, okay, well, the Chiefs can't draft wide receivers. Well, they drafted Rashee Rice, and Rashee Rice looks great right now.
Yep.
Okay, Sky Moore was taken in the same round. I mean, he doesn't look like a hit yet. Maybe he will be, but you can't really say that they can or can't draft receivers because you got evidence both ways. If you're going to tell me that the Chiefs can't, scout undeveloped guys because, you see late-round picks and you see undrafted guys playing around the league. Well, they hit on like a Byron Pringle. There's been some good talent around. So, I mean, I think this group can absolutely identify, underrated receiver talent. And then, we don't know about injuries. I mean, I don't know. I mean, has Patrick Mahomes been dealing with something that we don't know about? Could be. I mean, maybe we'll find out after the season and things will get explained. Or maybe we'll find out that there's some other reason that this offense hasn't clicked. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I can really say that last year or this year is the definitive year because I just think that as much as it may look like on paper the same team, I just don't think it is.
Well, and I do wonder, like, what this offseason is going to be. The last time they had a positional group that was this bad, they went out and completely revamped the offensive line, traded for Orlando Brown. You draft Creed and Trey, and you sign Tooney. And all of a sudden, it's 5 new guys that are there as an offensive line. I don't think that's going to be the case next year because I think Rashee Rice is definitely going to be back, and Travis Kelce. Sky Moore, I think, will be back in training camp, but I think he should be back on a basis of he has to earn his spot on the team. If you don't make the team, you don't make the team. Sorry. But you'll be back because you're under contract for a couple of more years, but we're not just going to carry you because, hey, we drafted you in the second round. No, if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. I think he'll be on the team, but he shouldn't have a spot guaranteed for him. I would be shocked if MVS is on the team because you saved $12 million by moving on from MVS. And you've got a lot of other free agents that you need to worry about if you're going to go and sign somebody. I do wonder if this is an offseason, Matt, that maybe Brett Veach would tell us what his view is if last year was more of the, hey, you won the Super Bowl, you did that with the offense. This is the year that people were predicting what the offense would look like last year, right? This is what people said. The offense, people are going to get exposed. Oh, let's see what the Chiefs do now without Tyreek down there somewhere. And they were the number one offense. And now this year, this is happening. And I would highly doubt Brett Veach goes into the offseason and goes, you know what, 2023, that was a down year. We're going to stay with the same approach. I'm guessing they throw numbers at it and bring in a number of different guys. And certainly that would impact, other guys they could bring back with L'Jarius Sneed and Chris Jones and Mike Dana and Drew Tranquill and Willie Gay and, Jerick McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Derek Nottie and Turk Wharton. Like, they've got a number of guys that are just simply free agents, and they've got a positional group that they're going to have to attack.
Yeah, and the key to the rebuilding the offensive line was really that Super Bowl game. I mean, that was the definitive one. Because what you were left with Mahomes absolutely running for his life and, scrambling almost 500 yards that day. That was the breakdown. So it was like, hey, no, you don't ever want to have your franchise quarterback going through that again. And this year to me, a lot of ways has I keep saying it. I mean, I go back to 2021 and, if you remember another thing about 2021, Mahomes had like 6 or 7 interceptions that year that like Next Gen Stats said were 75% chances of completion. And what has happened this year? I mean, Kadarius Toney's was another great example of that. I mean, he's had a couple of those balls that I bet were 75% completion passes that turned into interceptions. They've had a few of those. So, I mean, it's to a degree, it's a little bit the same. And once again, I mean, we are talking about a team that if you take, 3 plays, you could literally turn this team from 9-5 to 12-2. And we wouldn't be talking about any of these things. You could probably take a half dozen plays and flip them over the entire course of the season, and maybe the Chiefs are 11-3, and Mahomes is the MVP candidate. I mean, they are that close because and it's not like this offense is just falling off a cliff. I mean, again, if you look at Mahomes' splits, I mean, his numbers as far as short and intermediate passing are pretty much, the same. I mean, he's still Patrick Mahomes. The one area in which they're just radically different is on throws more than 20 yards. The question to me is, hey, is the fault of deep passing on this team, is it the receivers? Is it the protection? Is it the quarterback? Is it the play call? Is it the defenses that you're not adjusting to? And that's probably a bigger factor than we really acknowledge. But again, it circles back to, once again, I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons for the fault, but I don't know, like you said, I mean, I think they're going to put some resources into the receivers room. You're absolutely right. I mean, Marquez is cheaper to walk away from than keep, and with his cap number for next year, the numbers don't match. The performance doesn't match.
Yeah, he's $14 million next year against the cap, and $2 million dead if they walk away from him. You save $12 million. His is his last year.
Kadarius Toney's money is guaranteed, so you don't save any money there. And Sky Moore is cheap, so you're not going to walk away from him. I mean, you're going to keep those guys around and see what happens. Maybe they don't make the team, but you're certainly going to keep them around.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you're not going to put another draft pick in there. It doesn't mean that you might not put some free agent money in there. I don't know that we will probably see a radical rebuilding of the room like you saw with the offensive line, unless, of course, the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl and they lose because they only throw for 123 yards and Mahomes can't, find a receiver and there's 3 drops and nobody catches anything deep. Then, you might blow the place up and try and rebuild.
Yeah, go out and get you some guy that I don't think the third receiver for the Rams is going to command a lot of money. This DeMarcus Robinson guy, who's been playing really well from the Rams. That guy's got to be out there available. You can go bring him in, something like that, see what he would look like in a Chiefs uniform. 4 straight games with a touchdown and 9 targets the last 2 weeks with 8 receptions and 126 yards and a couple touchdowns. If that guy's available, go get him. You know what I mean?
So,
what do you think of
you could have drafted Puka.
Well, that is true, yes. So what do you think of the Raiders game coming up on Monday? 10-point favorites still are the Chiefs. What do you think happens in the game, and do you have a score in mind for this one?
I do have a score in mind for this one, and now I'm forgetting what it is. I think I know what it is.
You had it in mind. It's no longer in mind.
I have it written down in my office, and I'm not in my office anymore, so that's my problem. I see the Chiefs obviously being the better team than the Raiders. The only thing I can think about worse than playing on the road on Thanksgiving weekend, or Thanksgiving Day rather, is playing on the road on Christmas Day at noon on a Monday.
10 o'clock your time?
Raiders don't want to be there, and I think they're much closer to being the team that put up 0 points a couple of weeks ago than the team that put up 63 last Thursday. Obviously, they're somewhere in between, but I think that the Chiefs on Christmas Day with their crowd, they come up with more energy than they did in Las Vegas, which is really the reason why they fell down 14-0 in that game. I think the Chiefs start out well early. I think the defense plays well. The offense moves a little bit. We'll see if they prove me to believe that the offense is fixed. But I'm betting that they cover, which I shouldn't do. But going with the Chiefs, 29-16.
29-16, got you written down. Matt, appreciate it as always, brother. Enjoy the press conferences today. We know we got assistant coaches today, along with Spags and Matt Nagy. No Dave Tobe, but assistant coaches today, including Connor Embry. I wonder if people want to hear from him. I'm not sure. So he'll be talking today. So, Matt, thank you as always for the time, brother. Merry Christmas to you and yours, and we'll talk next week.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, and where's the Tylenol? Another joke that's going to go right over Josh's head.
Not mine.
Kiss my ass. Kiss your ass. Happy Hanukkah. Kiss his ass.
I got Tylenol in my office. I guess I can grab that. Do you need some, Matt? I can send it. I think Lebo might have some.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm mad, Josh. I'm just disappointed.
Well, that's the sentence I'm used to hearing around the Christmas times, right there. That's like being back at home.
You ready to do some kissing? All right, we'll take a time out. Matt, you're the man. Appreciate it as always, brother. Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest. 41 is the Mike podcast. Go check that out. It's a fun podcast. He and Nick Jacobs from 41 do the podcast together. Matt Derrick presented by Cap One Lending. Freedom Loan at Cap One Lending, the exclusive loan. It helps you pay your home off in less than half the time, gives you access to your home's equity without having to refinance. Go to caponelending.com. We take a timeout. We come back. More Zone next. Yes, it is. We know it is, for sure. There's some, news report, Josh, out of Heavy.com and Gridiron Heroics. Have you seen this story report on Patrick Mahomes?
I don't think I have.
Report: Patrick Mahomes breaks his silence on being fined by the NFL.
Wow. That's a huge story. What did he say?
Yeah, he talked yesterday and finally broke his silence. Finally, people could get a hold of him and have him weigh in. The guy was avoiding talking even one extra day. Typically on a Wednesday, avoided it, talked on a Thursday. Finally, Patrick Mahomes breaks his silence on his $50,000 fine. About damn time he showed some responsibility for that.
Listen, I mean, crybabies are gonna cry. They're gonna get press conferences delayed by an entire day. Definitely having nothing to do with it being a Monday game or him getting asked about it before he got fined. He was interesting. Well, breaking news.
Just the way that.
Did you ever see the CNN Chiron one year that was like breaking Titanic sinks 100 years ago today? It's like, well.
That's not breaking
news. I mean,
news.
the Titanic was
they
breaking.
always had the breaking news. Everything was breaking news for
everything.
like a good 8 months on that. All right, we're going to take a timeout. We went a little long with Matt Derrick, but we've got a lot of coaches coming up. Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, Dave Merritt, Brendan Daly, Joe Colin, Andy Heck, Connor Embry, all coming up as we continue rolling. More Zone next. We continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels. We will hear from Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, and the assistant coaches today, and then Mick Schaefer a little bit later on in the show, as we will have a number of coaches to hear from. So we'll see what happens. Steve Spagnuolo is expected to be first. There's no Dave Tobe listed here, so we'll see if he's actually there, or does he just not want to talk about deflated footballs? And so he's like, you know what?
Oh, yeah, this would have been a week to definitely want to hear from Dave Tobe. I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, you miss one kick, and Dave Tobe's like, no more press conferences. Sorry, not doing it. Not doing it. Not going down that road again. No, here we go again. I'm out. I'll talk to him next week.
They
My
did
Christmas
talk to.
Did not talk to him.
They did talk to Butker in the locker room yesterday. We didn't get to play. It's like 7 minutes of all that. I listened through it,
wow.
and I don't have the ideal gas law clips that when he talked about that some.
Nice.
But I will give a little bit of a tease here. We might hear from Harrison Butker in the back half of the 1 o'clock hour.
Oh, I like that.
How about that?
Great. The ideal gas law. Love it, man. We all learned about the ideal gas law during Deflategate 1. Learned all about it.
Weird that it would happen in New England again.
Yeah.
Did the Chiefs' communication go
Especially
out
when
at
it
any
wasn't-
point?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Probably at some point.
I mean,
Who
Kadarius
knows?
Toney's did.
Was
but
New England? Yeah, that's just been out for a while. They actually send different plays to him. Was it New England where the equipment all got messed up and they had to go and grab it really? And there was the video of them running down the hallway with huge bags of the equipment. Was that in New England
It
too?
sure was. Yeah, it sure was. Huh. Interesting.
Yep. All right. Is Spags up? Here we go. Here is Ted.
Cam Jones is sick. Donovan Smith, McKinnon, and Kadarius. Everybody else will work.
Donovan Smith, Kadarius, and McKinnon. Is it the last three?
Cam Jones, Smith, McKinnon, Tony. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Got it. Yep, you're welcome.
So Donovan Smith, Jerick McKinnon, and Kadarius Toney not practicing today. So DNPs for those guys back-to-back days. Well, Donovan Smith was limited yesterday, right?
Yeah, he was.
So he goes from limited to not practicing. That's interesting. So that may solve one of the questions of whether Wanya Morris is going to play or not, start at left tackle. If Donovan Smith goes from limited to DNP, Jerick McKinnon back-to-back DNPs, Kadarius Toney, and then there's some sickness that goes along with it as opposed to guys actually being injured there. So something just to keep in mind with that, with the injuries today. So we'll see. Jerick McKinnon's already dealt with soft tissue injury earlier this year. Was it a groin injury that Jerick McKinnon? He missed a couple of games, and Andy Reid said the thing just got a little tender and needed to let that thing sort of heal up. And they did, and he came back, and he's looked a little bit faster. But now out again with a groin injury, that's worrisome because you thought that thing had sort of healed up. But maybe it's just going to be a nagging injury all year long, like Snead's knee or anything. Here's Spags.
Well, it looks like we got a little rain out there today. Hopefully we'll get outside. But all right, happy to be moved on to the next one. Looking forward to playing the Raiders. Big rival game. I hope we fare better playing a team for the second time this time around, and that's one of the things I talked to the guys about. You know, you play a team a second time, you got to notch it up even more. So with that, I'll just open it up.
Seeing what Drew can do this year, now that you have him back and all your linebackers back, what do you see as his role this year?
Drew's?
Drew Tranquil, yeah.
Well, similar, well, probably more than it was at the beginning of the year, but even at the beginning of the year, we were trying to get him in there in different packages. I think you saw last week that even though Nick was back, we got Drew in there for a couple of series at Mike linebacker, so we'll probably continue to do that. He's so flexible and versatile that we can use him in a number of different roles. And I tell you where else he's been great, since he's so up to what we're doing now. He was just in my office a little bit ago with a what if that I probably hadn't even thought of. But he's helpful that way too. So there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that you probably don't see, that his value is tremendous to us. But we're going to try to get him out there in different packages and probably get him in there for Nick somewhere along the way to give Nick a little blow.
What do you think about this Raiders offense? I mean, down 1 week.
I know. Scary when you watch them in this last game. And listen, they went against a tough defense when they played Minnesota, so it was a little bit different for them. But for them to rebound like they did in a short week, I mean, it's a testament to the coaches, to their players. You guys know how I feel about the head coach there. And it gives them all kinds of confidence coming into Arrowhead. We got to make sure that we're prepared for that. I mean, it's another game where they feel like if they can knock off the Chiefs, that sends them where they want to go. So we're going to get their best shot, I'm sure.
Steve, after the first couple drives in Vegas, you had told your team that it was stuff you guys were doing that was preventing your success. I don't know if it gives something away or maybe it doesn't, but I just wonder if you could expand on
what it was, or not specifically what it was. I just thought we made some mistakes there that had we executed it the way we practiced, we might have been able to get off the field in those first couple of drives. Now, give them a little bit of credit too. The offense, they made some plays and the quarterback got the ball to the proper receivers on particular pass plays. But that's probably typical of any of these games where we've allowed drives early. Usually it was somebody just out of whack a little bit, and we just got to settle in and be us just a lot sooner. We got to start faster.
What do you think is this group's ability? Because with Vegas and Green Bay was also kind of similar. It's where you were able to make adjustments within the game.
Yeah.
Is this group more able to do that?
You talk about the players that.
Is this group's more able to do that?
I guess in some regards. I mean, I think I've shared this before. I feel like this is one of the more cerebral groups as a whole that we've had. The numbers of the guys that you'd put in that category seems to be higher, so that's helpful. The other thing is these guys, I'm talking about the coaches and the players, everybody kind of responds to working together at something when, our back's against the wall a little bit and we got to get something straightened out and right. These guys taking upon themselves, coaches and players, to get it right, and that's nice to have.
How concerning was it just the attacking the second level with the tight end last game, and I guess how do you shore that up, make sure that...
Yeah, listen, we knew, we were trying to take away, you can't take away everything. That's the first part. And so we make decisions in the game where to go early. We did make a halftime adjustment for that specific situation. But, unless it's unless you got tight ends that are running 4.4s and 4.5s, they're going to open up the game. Sometimes that happens and we got to line up and play defense again. If we're taking away the one that was supposed to go deep, I'm okay with that. We would like to be tighter on some of that coverage, but we'll pick our spots with what we're trying to take away.
I know we've talked a few times about turnovers, and you guys would like to force more, obviously.
Yeah.
But do you guys track woulda, coulda, shoulda turnovers? When's it drops for your guys? And
oh yeah, those are MOBPs, missed opportunity at a big play. That gets recorded, and there's a column for that. We've had, I don't know, even a missed sack is an MOBP because that's a big play that can turn it around. I'm trying to remember how many balls we may have knocked out and didn't come up with it. Do you have a number or no?
I don't.
Yeah.
I just feel like that last week there was a ball on the ground.
Yeah.
And it just kind of...
Yeah, they were right. Where you could. I remember Trent had one in the Philadelphia game. Didn't we knock it out of the quarterbacks? Mm-hmm. And we just, so there are some of those where, and when that does happen, we talk. We're always scooping and scoring in practice. It's a habit that we build. It just hasn't fallen our way yet. We hope to get a few of those.
Yesterday, Drew talked about the emphasis on the run game, and you filled the box against the pass, and it worked out pretty well. Just what's it going to be like adjusting to the Raiders' run game?
Yeah, you go back and you look at the last game that we played against them. For the most part, other than that 63-yard run, we were good, not great, but we were good, and probably could have survived the game, that one. But you can't, it all counts. So when you give up a 63-yard run, that's part of it. And it ended up 123 yards rushing or whatever the average was. So we got to limit those. But the main emphasis will always be going into a game, especially a team like this, because we know the running back that they have. And by the way, when he was out last week, the other running back did a pretty good job too. So they know how to run the football. And if we don't find a way to stop it, my guess is that they'll continue to run. It felt like that the last time we played them, that they were committed to the run game. We know they're committed. They say it publicly, and so we better be committed to trying to stop it.
Last one, Nate.
Steve, I know based on circumstances, Felix hasn't gotten a lot of snaps.
Yeah.
What have you seen him improve on from the start of the season, and what would you like?
I'll tell you what. So
more opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Joe and I are always talking about that. I go back to a little bit of a testament to the guys that are playing, because I think Mike and George and Charles have done a really good job, and then Leo gets in there too in that particular spot. But Felix is really coming along. Just the other day, I'll always ask these guys questions in the meeting. I give them homework tapes to watch. I got to make sure they're watching them, right? So Felix was on it, which is impressive because early on as a young rookie, sometimes you miss those things. But I could see him in meetings fully intent. It's sinking in. He's getting it. He's waiting for his opportunity. And hopefully when he gets it, he can rise up and be everything we thought he'd be.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, good? Yeah, thank you.
All right, there's Steve Spagnuolo talking about the defense wanting a better start than they had against the Raiders the first go-around. First 3 drives for the Raiders resulted in 14 points and a missed field goal that was down inside the red zone, so left a lot to be desired there. Need a better start. He's mentioned that a few weeks in a row now of a better start for the defense to come out and have things taken care of. You're listening to Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. We'll hear from offensive coordinator Matt Nagy, we believe, will be next up at the podium to talk to the assembled media. But, talking about Drew Tranquill. And, look, I mean, we've discussed them getting off to slow starts, the Chiefs, and trailing in some of these games. And Andy Reid's talked about it the defense needs to get some stops early on so you're not trailing. The offense can score too. So that is also part of the game. Offense has the choice. In fact, when the other team scores, they actually kick it off to you. They give it right. It's not make it take it anymore. The defense needs to start better. So does the offense. The entire team come out and execute a little bit better at the beginning of the game. And Steve Spagnuolo talking about some of those plays. They didn't execute the plays the way that they practiced. And that's sort of the common denominator there. And the MOBP, missed opportunities of a big play, the MOBP. They've had a lot of MOBPs this year. A few too many MOBP. Here's Matt Nagy.
What do you got to do to get Kadarius Toney back to what you hope he can be? What's that process like from this point?
Yeah, one of the things that we all understand is that we are in a position where all these guys, we all want to do well for each other. So whether it's the wide receiver position, the quarterback position, or us as coaches, we want the best for one another. And however we get to that point, however the games go, what guys do, it's just a matter of staying positive as much as we can, and then making sure that we emphasize and talk about where we can be better, and whoever that is on the team, that's what we do. And with KT, obviously, he understands that the last play, towards the end of the game with the interception, nobody's more frustrated than him, and we understand that, he's got to make that catch. And as a team collectively, the way we've looked at it is we talked last week about starting fast and finishing strong. And we didn't finish strong as an offense those last 4 drives, whether it was punts or turnovers. At the end of the game there, we took the victory, meaning the QB kneel. But, we didn't finish strong. We had a 17-point advantage, and we gave them a momentum to get the touchdown. So we all want to be better.
What do you sense his confidence level is? Going through some of these things, is he someone who can kind of bounce back from this stuff?
I do, and this is for everybody. This is a profession that is always going to challenge you in many different ways. And I think today, in today's world with social media and just where that can go at times, whether it's the immediate right after a game or whether it's months and years later, it can still carry. So we all need to be mentally strong, and there's one way to do that, and that's by being together, by not pointing fingers. I do feel like that's a strength of ours. And I say that because when you fight through adversity, through the hard times, when you do well at the end of it and the storm goes away and the sun comes back out, you feel good that you stuck together. And so now, does that mean that there's not accountability for all of us? Yeah, that's a part of this business and everything that we do. So we know that day by day, play by play, game by game. So we're all accountable, and KT will handle it just fine.
At some point, are you kind of what you are, or I know you don't believe that. Coaches believe you can get better every day.
Yeah.
But at some point, as a unit, you say, maybe that's just us this year.
I think to that question, yeah, you build an identity of who you are. You start figuring out, okay, this is what our strengths and weaknesses are. if it's the same stuff that continues to happen, you're crazy to not say that, okay, this isn't who we are. At the same point in time, you still need to work towards fixing whatever those negatives are. So you're not content, you're not complacent with it. You got to understand that all that said, the big picture for us right now is we're in a great position heading into this game to do some good things moving forward. And in this game, you know, to do everything we can to win and win a division, you know, which is pretty good. So we keep that in mind, but there's hard work ahead of us. This Raiders team we're about to face is playing hard. And their head coach, Coach Pierce, does a great job at leading those guys. You can see how hard they play, and they're talented. So coming in here is going to be a challenge for them with our fans and our crowd. It's a major advantage for us. But this is a big game, and we know that.
From a wide lens, what do you make of this, I guess you'd call it a mini rivalry between Patrick and Max Crosby going out back and forth?
Yeah, it's been fun to be a part of the last couple of years. I can remember Max when he was coming out of college and just seeing who he was and how he played then. A little smaller at the time. Now he's put on some weight and some strength and confidence and played great. So I think you see two ultimate competitors that are at the top of the league at their positions and their side of the ball. And so there's definitely a mutual respect between the two. But when you get between those lines on game day, none of it's ever personal. But I think it's cool to be on the sideline and see the fire that they have, but then also be on the field after the game and see the mutual respect they have for one another.
Now, what was the? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. What was the teaching point on Pat's first interception?
Yeah, the biggest thing for us is just making sure on any interception that you have is you want to make sure that are your eyes at the right spot, are your feet good. And I think for him, he understands that in these plays, no matter how or what it is, you want to be good with your eyes and your feet. And for us, it was something that we talked about, getting your eyes and feet right, and the guys running the right routes, and trying to stay away from it. Obviously, the last one was good accuracy, so I think that's probably what he's been focusing on.
When a guy like Clyde has the game like he did against the Patriots, especially in the passing game, is there the thought of trying to get him involved more, and there was even the thought of him playing the zebra like in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's the aspect of hey, there's maybe a place so you can get him on the field.
He's able to play different positions. He has good hands. He's always had that going back to college. He can do good things. I'm impressed with the way he's handled his situation this year. You never know, and there's injuries, and we had that last week for him to come in and step up and make big plays. The throw that Pat made and the catch that Clyde made was really good. That was a big moment at that time. We needed that touchdown, and so he's just he can do that kind of stuff. He's smart. He can run the ball, do things in the pass game, and then more than anything is his confidence and his leadership skills have shown this year based on his situation.
Couple more. Andy said he wanted to give Richie James more than at least 2 snaps. Obviously, he was overwhelmingly a slot guy last year in New York. Do you guys view him similarly, or do you view him as potentially being able to expand on the role he had?
He can play different roles in this offense. Different guys play different spots. You guys know that. I think he's good in the slot. When you're in the slot, you want to be able to have a feel with defenses and zones, and then you got to beat man inside and outside leverage. So he's done a good job. And I speak to Richie too, as he went through some injuries and now and got back, and now I think he's handled his situation as a true professional. And when opportunities come up, if Coach says that about Richie and you get him chances, I think you'll see good things from him.
Coach, when you look at what Andy Reid did when you were in Chicago, and he did with you here before, and what he's done the last 2 years, if you're a defensive coordinator, how do you prepare inside the 5-yard line with what you guys might run? Yeah,
I think it's safe to say everybody knows it, and there's a lot of teams you can run into that you always know you got to prepare for something, and you don't know what it is and how you're going to deal with it. So I think the beauty of Coach is knowing when to call those plays and when to run them. At the same point in time, there's also the beauty of these guys. You want to keep this game fun too. It's a very business-like game, but I wish everybody in here could see the guys' faces when those plays get put in and seeing the excitement. And then you practice them. Sometimes they don't always go in you practice them that week. They don't go in for 5 weeks. So I think in those moments, it's fun. Coach has a great feel for what plays to put in, when to put them in, and then when to call them and when to use them. When they work, then that it builds a little bit of equity in when you want to install them. So, and when they don't work, it can go the other ways. But Coach has done a great job with that.
Last two. I wanted to ask you about that first touchdown. Coach said it was from the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, what's your history with that play? Who brought it in? What did Patrick said it was his idea to center and all that stuff. But just how many months ago is that?
Well,
stuff like
we have a nice little library as a staff. Every coach on staff brings their part and brings things in, and so we have a file that we kind of use and look at when we feel like we want to, install one of those if we feel like it fits, And so I think then usually, and this has always been from the day I was with Coach from Philadelphia to my first time here with him, is once you present it to the guys, they put their sprinkle and spin on it. And that's what these guys did with that play, with changing the center and having Joe play center, ironically in New England. So it's the guys have fun with it. They love it, part of what I was saying before.
How many of those things ever see the light of day?
You know what it is? You guys have seen the ones that have, and I think back to the one year when Dontari Poe had a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, and a catching touchdown in 1 year, receiving touchdown. But it's funny you say that, because it would be a fun project in the offseason to see the amount of plays we put in at certain times throughout the year that never get called and kind of just get thrown into outer space, and maybe bring those back.
Is that a big number?
I don't think it's very big, because there's a little bit of you can't do that all the time. But if you bring it out at the right time, it can be fun.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, there's Matt Nagy. They did break out the trick play, little fun play down inside the 5-yard line with the touchdown pass from Jerick McKinnon to Rashee Rice. So there you go. A lot of talk at the beginning there about Kadarius Toney. Word salad from Matt Nagy in the answer about Kadarius Toney. But I did think it was interesting when it was, at what point are you sort of who you are? Can you improve? And he said, over a course of a season, when it continues, you'd be crazy to say that that's not who you are. Here's Joe Cullen.
Getting ready for a big Christmas Day showdown with our rival, the Raiders. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
From the beginning of the season to the end, behind the scenes of practice, what have you seen as far as the growth and development of Felix?
Well, I'll tell you, he really did a great job early in the year filling in when we had some guys down. Chris wasn't here early, Charles with the suspension, and he's just been steady, and he's continuing to develop, but he's done some good things.
What did you see from Charles this last game?
Charles played really steady. He played physical in the run game. He was really good on his rushes, and I thought it was one of his best games.
So is there a technique to batting down the pass? Or is it just all instinct for a defensive line?
I tell you, you can work on that all day, and we don't spend a lot of time, but Coach Spags really stresses it when guys are coming on pressures. What I stress with the D-line is if you're not getting there and you see the long arm separation, get your hand up. We have some guys that really have a good feel for that. George has a good feel. Chris, Mike Dana. Last year, Carlos did. They have some height, too, which helps. But just stressing when you're not getting there clean and the ball's getting out quick to get your hands up.
George is having a really nice year, second year in. What have you seen from him as the season has gone on?
Well, I think if you go back to a year ago, we had to play him early. He just kept getting better and better, and I think that trend has continued, and he works hard at his craft.
It's somewhat rare for position coaches to be caught on camera, but you had that moment a couple weeks ago with the Surface. I guess how much texts and calls and stuff.
From my wife and my daughters, but no, those. I'm a very high energy, intense guy. So is Chris. I love Chris, and sometimes the heat of the moment, but it's all competitive energy. And it was over. Next play.
Did that Microsoft Surface survive?
It did. It did. I dropped that pretty hard, but it did survive.
What do you see from the Raiders this week? His second time through seeing him, and it wasn't all that long ago?
Well, I'll tell you, Coach Pierce has done a great job getting those guys to play hard, do what they do well. They made some changes in what they were doing. but really when you have number 8, you get Josh Jacobs, you're going to give him the ball as much as you can, and that kind of got things rolling for them. They've had 3 games well over 100 yards, and we had a hard time with him the last time, so we have to have all hands on deck to stop him. And then you get Adams on the outside and the speed at receivers. They've done a great job, and I think the quarterback is really doing a nice job, not only managing the game but getting the ball out fast and getting it to the people that want him to get it to.
Last one,
Coach Mac Pinnell's the guy that came here in 2019, really provided a spark. Now he's back. Saw his first action last week. What do you think about Mac Pinnell and what he brings to your room?
Well, Mike's done a great job. I kind of go back to last year when we brought Brandon Williams here, who I had in Baltimore. Mike's been in the battles. He's played 10 years in the league, and Mike was getting better and better and better as Matt has gotten better. And it was just an opportunity to get him up, see what he could do, and he did a nice job of it.
Thank you, everybody.
I appreciate it. Happy holidays.
All right, there's Joe Cullen. Love listening to him talk football each and every time. You know what? The Microsoft tablet, it did survive. Good to know. It survived, and he also got a lot of people reaching out, his wife and daughter, for the interaction with Chris Jones on the sideline. But you know what? It's all good, man. All good.
Technically, I don't think that was technically a drop. He said he dropped it pretty hard. I think a drop just sort of goes straight down. I think he Gronk spiked it, but another great ad for the Microsoft Surface. I guess apparently it's pretty durable.
I swung my arm towards the ground, and then it just slipped out of my hand, and it just dropped.
Yep, just dropped right there.
I mean, what do you want me to do? How am I supposed to keep that from happening? I mean, that's difficult.
So they got those cases and the little handle and everything,
That's right. I love how they have the child cases on them because sometimes coaches act like children on the sideline.
That's right.
My son's got the same case on his tablet and iPad that they do on the sideline.
You ever just absolutely screaming your guts out, yelling at him about something, showing him his own film on the iPad? He's obviously making great points in return. You just spiked that sucker into the basement.
Yeah, this morning after he had his 6:30 hitting session in the morning.
You're letting him sleep in because it's Christmas?
He was dragging ass is what he was doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you understand that every day you're not practicing, somebody somewhere is, and when you meet that person, they're going to win. So get off your ass and fix your swing, you punk.
I think this is going to work out for you guys.
Yeah.
I think he's going to look back on these days with a lot of gratefulness and fondness for the 5 a.m. Swing sessions.
Yeah. And also, I work with my son in baseball.
I was just deciding if I wanted to do that or not. Mixed 5 o'clock swing sessions.
Outside of things that happen in the family, my son and I get together and do some of the baseball stuff.
Baseball
and it's
stuff,
just a lot of fun.
That's
a
really
lot
good.
of fun. A lot of fun.
If Nick comes in here with an
iPad,
iPad, I will not. I don't want to see the film that he brings either.
We don't watch back film on his iPad. We watch it on my phone.
Good.
So I take videos of his swing or basketball or something like that, and then I try to visually explain what, because, it's easier than just sort of explaining it like, oh, you should do this, you do that. All right, who's up here?
Dave Merritt.
Dave Merritt.
Fantastic job. I guess this year is actually forcing turnovers, probably not as many as you want. What are your coaching points with the guys in the defensive backfield about taking the ball away?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same every week. You try to make sure that the guys go through fundamentals as far as punching and raking at the ball. As far as the interceptions and tip passes, you have those come in bunches sometimes, and there are games where you don't have them at all. But as far as causing turnovers, we can do a better job at actually attacking the ball. That would help us out for sure. And so fundamentally every week we do some drills where we are attacking the football, trying to rake it out, trying to punch it out. And so hopefully it's going to turn into a bunch of them coming up here starting this week.
How did the coaching points maybe shifted when you signed into someone like a Devontae Adams or Justin Jefferson up that, or does it not shift it really at all?
No, it shifts. Those guys are game changers. Those guys are game wreckers for defensive coordinators. And so everyone has to be on high alert for those potential stars that are on the other opposing team. And so, but no, it shifts as far as, you're talking, you get them anywhere close to the core. If a D lineman can hit them, you hit them. If a linebacker can hit them, you hit them. If a corner can hit them, safety hit them, you try to hit them. You try to at least bruise them up a little bit. Hopefully they can just keep them out wide so the quarterback has to throw in a tight window. But you try to make sure everyone knows where is Waldo. There he is over there. And so that's what we do.
Dave, what have you seen in Shamari Connor, just his development during the year?
Yeah, Shamari is number one, he's a quiet young man, but at the same time, he has some bite to him. And one day I remember talking to him, and I made a comment, and he made a little mumble up under his breath. And I said, "What's that? What did you say?" And he repeated it, which is good, because a lot of times a child would be like, "Nothing, nothing." He repeated it, and so, but he is a young man who has been playing multiple roles for us. I'm talking from safety, free and strong, to nickel, to dime. He's probably the only rookie that I've ever had that has played 4 different positions, because that's what he's doing. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've had another guy that have done that. And so, but super smart young man, quiet, but at the same time, like I said, he has some bite to him. So he's developing, he's growing where we would like for him to grow.
What was it about? I mean, was it OTAs that you noticed he might be able to do that?
No, not at all. OTAs, I was like, man, this guy stinks. He can't go in the slot. There's no way. Then all of a sudden, he started just climbing. I think it was more so once you started putting him in the game and he started feeling comfortable early part of the preseason games. And then you started seeing that, okay, he has some explosiveness, he has some movement skills that can be used, and let's see if we can use this. We had a package back when Spags and I were back a long time ago at the Giants. We called it a 3 safety package. And that's what role that he's in right now, is that 3 safety package. And so he's doing a good job.
You guys obviously liked Legarius. You drafted
Yes,
him
sir.
a few years ago, but is
Yes,
it
sir.
fair or accurate to say that maybe he's grown beyond what you thought his ceiling would be at the time?
Yeah, he has. And, the trajectory that Ladarius has gone on is you want every player to come in here and have that ascending flight. And he came in here, first of all, another quiet man who was struggling to learn the system, where we had him playing in the slot, if you guys remember when he first got here, because we had Ward and, of course, Breland outside. And so, but he has taken leaps and bounds the past year and a half, maybe the past 2 years, that I and Spags, we thought that he would take. But this year he's taken it up even another level. In my opinion, he's probably, if not the best press corner in the league, he should be considered as one of the top 2. And I don't see him as a number 2. And so, but I think this young man, the ceiling is still, all right, it's so far ahead of him, and he has so much room to grow when it comes to zone coverages and things of that nature. And so, but he's doing a fantastic job.
The physical part of his game, did you see that?
Yes.
When he was in college?
Only because he plays safety.
Yeah.
And then when you see a guy that's going to come down and he has the ability to tackle in the open space, but what I didn't see was his ability to be ready to bounce back from adversity. So if a lot of guys, if they get beat, and we've had some guys, and I've coached some guys over the decades, whereas if they get beat, some of the guys will go into a shell. And you have to help them out to try to bring them back out. It's okay to come out of your room. Come on, it's all right. LJ doesn't do that. LJ bounces back right away. You make a catch on him, he gets pissed off. He's ready to now go back and challenge you again to show everybody that, no, that's not going to happen again. And so, but his ability to be able to bounce back is uncanny. I haven't had a guy like him.
Last one, Matt.
When you lose a guy like Brian Cook, what kind of adjustments do you go through, and especially with maybe some of the new wrinkles at offense that are going to throw at you?
Losing a guy like Brian Cook, the beautiful thing, what we do here is we have walkthroughs, and we have 2 separate groups that are going at the same time. And a lot of times when I've gone to places, you have one walkthrough, the backups is just sitting there and they're just watching. They're just watching. Well, no, we don't do that here. So we have everyone working. I mean, we get the trainers, we get Sid, we grab Ted, anybody come over here, run a route, go run a route for us. And we have all of our players working. And so the fact that we have done that since we've been here, it has allowed the next man to step up. Deion Bush was ready to go. You're talking Shamari goes down and plays multiple roles. And so having those 2 separate walkthroughs allows us to get more done. And backups are always preparing and practicing.
But that's get fun when your son keeps getting college offers. What's the number up to now? What's it like here?
He's up there, and so, but I'm happy for him, and Mama Bear's happy for him, and so, but it's a beautiful thing. It really is. He's a good kid, and my daughter Drea don't forget her. So, thank you guys. Thank you.
There's Dave Merritt, and yes, his son is quite the football player. Very good football player is his son. And Dave Merritt playing in the NFL as well and played at NC State, so big-time college football. The defensive backs coach for the Kansas City Chiefs here is Brendan Daly or Andy Heck? Well, Brendan Daly right now.
He didn't score. You guys got on a little bit. What was it like in film study when he didn't get that shoulder down to score?
Yeah, probably a little bit similar. Thankfully, the offense was able to punch that one in for us. But, would love – great play by him. Great play. Love to see him finish it in the end zone, you know. It's a little bit of a running joke. When Willie works in practice, he's a horrible running back as the look guy. Showed it on the field.
Now that Drew is back, but you have everybody else back, what do you see his role as? How do you use him, utilize him, that sort of thing?
Yeah, you know what? He's become really versatile for us in terms of the way we can use him. His football IQ allows him to do that at a high level. We'll see how that goes, you know. Even with Nick back last week, you know, he's still going to rotate in there some. You know, he does a number of different things for us. We're going to continue to get him on the field. He's going to help us.
Coach, it seems like Leo has taken a real big step this year. What have you seen from him from year one to year two?
He has. I would agree with that statement. I would say the game has slowed down for him a little bit in terms of his processing. You know, last year as a rookie, you're coming in. We had him in a number of different positions. It was spinning fast for him. You could see like a lot of the physicality. You could see him do some things from a skill set standpoint. And he played well for us. I would say he's taken a step this year. He's able to handle more mentally. He's able to process faster. He doesn't make many repeat errors. That was the case a year ago, although there were a lot of corrections that were going on. You're seeing the accumulation of all of those reps to where he's got a really good foundation underneath of him now.
He didn't play a lot of on-ball in college and everything, but you're getting him more and more this year. What's kind of got into that evolution of him?
Yeah, it's an interesting statement, and it's a good observation. I would say when we evaluated him on college tape, you didn't see much of that, but you saw a lot of the physical traits that might lend themselves to being good in those roles. And he's become that. You know, he's as good up on the line of scrimmage as most defensive ends in this league in terms of setting the edge and being physical in the run game. He's capable as an edge rusher there. I think those will continue to grow as he gets more reps and opportunities at it, to be honest.
I mean, you coached D-line too. I mean, as far as Leo's strength, where does he kind of rank in guys that you coached?
High, extremely. The other thing that shouldn't be discredited for him, he plays with really good leverage. He's a natural knee bender. He does a great job creating separation and extension with his arms. So there's a combination of things. He is strong, but he also plays with really good technique and fundamentals.
How important is it to have Nick back, particularly for this week against the Raiders? He was not there last time around with the way they run the football.
Yeah, I mean, always good to have Nick back. You know, we lean on him so much for leadership, for communication. You know, he is a great presence out there. I think he brings a comfort level to everybody else on the field. He allows other guys to play fast because he's able to recognize and pre-snap communicate things so well. So it's always good to have him back.
Anybody else? Thank you, Coach.
Absolutely.
There's linebackers coach Brendan Daly. We will hear from offensive line coach Andy Heck and also wide receivers coach Connor Embry as well before they are done with their podium press media availability for the assistant coaches today, along with a couple of coordinators. So we'll see who gets into the interview room next, Andy Heck or Connor Embry. So we'll find out. But yes, Brendan Daly, Leo Chanel's been pretty good. Okay, well, here's Andy Heck.
Been coaching for a few months now, but you learned anything since he's gone into the lineup in these 3 games or whatever it's been since he's been in the lineup? You learned anything about him?
Yeah, it's been fun to watch him compete, and so you always wonder, and you know what kind of ability he has. He's super talented, all kinds of ability, bright future. What's he going to be like under the bright lights in the moment? And I think he's handled himself really well, and that's been fun to watch.
What are the biggest challenges for this week, this game against the Raiders, and what they can bring on the defensive line?
Well, certainly Max Crosby is as good as there is and as disruptive as there is. You can see on their defense that they're playing hard, and with heart, Coach has them going now. And then you mix into that, the whole Chiefs-Raiders rivalry thing. So it's going to be a great challenge for us.
With the new guys outside and Wanya mixing in too, what do you feel like this group is in pass protection as far as, picking up and passing off and communication, the transition there?
Yeah, that's an important element, the communication, knowing the guy next to you, and so that takes some time now. These guys have all been working with each other for the better part of a year and through training camp, so we expect that to continue to progress and get better. We plug a new guy in over there, Wanya next to Joe. Joe's pro's pro over there, and he's been communicating and working really well with Wanya. Trey and Jawan, this year they're new together, so that's been a process, making sure, hey, if we got a vertical set, we're vertical setting so we can handle games and things like that. So it's never as good as you want it to be, and so that's what we work on day in and day out.
Leading into the decision to insert Wanya there, what specific technique areas did you see him improve on from training camp to that leading into that camp?
I thought he did a nice job with some of his run blocking. Wasn't perfect, but he did a good job of dropping his hips, getting his hands inside, his eyes up, and then working to finish. A guy's not going to stay blocked forever, and so he's trying to disengage from a block. Can you drop your hips, adjust, and finish that block?
What's been the process of bringing Jawan in and getting him doing what you guys did?
Well, it started in OTAs with meetings, hey, chalkboard, getting out on the field a little bit with fundamentals, and we maybe ask him to do something a little bit different than he had done in his past. And then, it's just constant, watch the tape, correct, drill it, got to drill, fix it, watch the tape, it's just watch and repeat.
How did Tooney grade out as a center?
I think he got 100% on that one. Yeah, he delivered a nice snap. I think he was probably a Pro Bowl center one year in his career, so I had a lot of confidence in his ability to do that. That was fun.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, there's offensive line coach Andy Heck. Joe Tooney graded out 100% as a center in the game. So there you go. His one snap, perfect. Perfect snap for Joe Tooney. We're going to hear from wide receivers coach Connor Embry when he gets up to the podium. That'll be the final coach, assistant coach, coordinator that will be at the podium today. So we'll see what Connor Embry has to say about the wide receivers. I don't know, maybe Kadarius Toney will be asked about. I don't know, Richie James, Sky Moore not being there. Here's Connor Embry.
Go for Coach Embry.
Obviously, there's been a couple issues with some drops and things with Kadarius
Yeah.
here. What have you seen from him this last couple of weeks and his confidence level and how you guys are coaching him?
Good. He's been doing good, and that's one thing I love about KT. He doesn't let all the noise or any of that get to him. He's still the same person every day, and we love that about him. And he's working hard. He's still working hard, doing everything he's supposed to do, and that's him. So we like that.
Carter, why hasn't he lived up to the expectations you guys have for him this year, so far at least?
I wouldn't say it's like he hasn't lived up to the expectations. There's just been a couple plays throughout the season that it just happened to be, a big situation or something, and he might have had an error. So I think it looks worse than his actual season as a whole. Because when I grade him out in games and stuff, it's not like he's getting an F grade every game. So I think it's more just kind of situational, when it happened, where it happened, that type of stuff.
I assume part of your process is trying to figure out that part, the why it happened.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Like, how do you assess why a guy drops a pass late in the game?
That's probably the hardest thing, or the thing that keeps coaches up the most is, you hear it all the time. People talk about, like, you remember the losses more than the wins. So it's the same type of thing. I don't think you can just, point to one thing of why he's doing this or why it's happening. It's not from a lack of effort. I think more of it is from he's trying to make plays. He's trying to catch the ball or, move before he has the ball. So it's not anything other than that, him out there trying to make plays for our team. So, again, it's not from the lack of effort or the lack of want to.
Coach said he wants to see more opportunities for Richie. What do you think that he can do and with those added opportunities?
Yeah, no, Richie's been great. He's been great in our room. He's a great leader. He helps the young guys out a lot. He helps 4 out. But he'll play Sunday and he'll get his shots. And, we like to move everyone around, and everyone has to know every spot out there. So, yeah, I'm excited for Richie. I know he's excited. He's been working hard, kind of behind the scenes. When you're injured or not, you kind of have to do stuff on your own. So he's been working hard, been in the meeting room, in the playbook still. So I'm excited for him.
How important, I'm sure it's a coaching point every week to hold on the football, right? But the Raiders really were getting after the ball against the Chargers.
Oh, yeah.
Raking it out. Playing through the whistle.
No, that's good. And I think more, there's some teams that do it better than others, or it's you can see it on film, I guess, more than others. But, yeah, that's every game. We got to the ball is the goal. You got to have the ball. So we always harping on that, talking about it. We work ball security drills all the time. And, yeah, it's just if someone sees, the week before you get the ball punched out, they're going to all be trying to punch the ball out. So you got to make sure you hold it high and tight.
This is your first year as a position coach. How's the experience been? What have you kind of learned about yourself and the job in the process?
Yeah, it's been great. I've learned a lot. It's been there's been some ups and downs, some challenges, good stuff, all that. I think that anyone's first year in the NFL kind of has. But it's been good. I love it. I love doing what I do. I have a passion for this. I grew up in the football business. My dad's a coach. My uncle's a coach. So, I went to school and I knew I wanted to be a coach. So, I majored in general studies because they don't have coaching degrees. So, whatever's the easiest so I could get out and go be a coach. So.
Last one, Adam.
Connor, you guys obviously like Rashid. You drafted him this year. But is it fair to say that maybe he's gone beyond what you thought he would give you as a rookie this year?
Yeah, he's done great. It's hard on anyone to play in the NFL, let alone a rookie. The thing I like about him is he works hard and then he lets me coach him hard. So he's fine with me getting on him. He's fine. He just wants to get better. And I try to challenge him every day in some type of way, whether, sending him an article talking about who's the best rookie wideout out there or whatnot, just to try to keep him motivated and keep him going. Because it's hard for rookies. Like, you just thinking about it, he went from playing his last senior year into the combine, into the draft process, into getting in. So he hasn't really had a break in over a year. So, but he's done great. And like I said, I like his attitude, his work ethic, and he's playing. I mean, it's showing. He's working hard in practice, and it's shown up in the game.
Do you have specific examples of things you've gotten on him about that he's
I can't really think of one specific thing right now, but I just know if he messes up on something, I tell him he gets it fixed, and that's all you want as a coach. Is if I tell you, hey, I'm fine with you messing up, especially as a rookie, but don't do the same thing twice. So, and he doesn't.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Connor.
All right, there's Connor Embry, and look, there is something to be said for that with Rashee Rice, and he's not the only one that has said that about Rashee Rice as his time in the Chiefs organization has gone along. So, how about that? Connor Embry and I, we have a couple things in common. We neither of us know why the drop passes are happening, and we both took the approach in college of path of least resistance. So we have a few things in common. How about that? If he'd have gone to Northwest Missouri State, they have a coaching minor. I've got one. Because again, path of least resistance. How do I get there, get out, and talk sports on the radio? Well, we got a broadcasting degree. Done. But you have to have a minor. Ugh. Minor, what do you got? Minor, we have a coaching minor. Done. Give me that one. Let's go. Maybe I can coach wide receivers one day. I had a catch. But my family is not in the coaching industry, so that sort of said. His father's a mechanic. My brother's a mechanic. Uncle's a mechanic on my mother's side. Their mother's a mechanic. Any idea, Josh?
Christmas Vacation.
You nailed it. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More so next. I like the Vince Giraldi, though. I'm good with that one, too. But the Vince Giraldi, Christmas time is here. Christmas time is here. Right? Josh, go ahead. Take it away, Russ.
I don't know that I've got quite that range, but I did not know the name Vince Giraldi until just right now. Did not know he was the man behind the Charlie Brown Christmas music. Yeah, I didn't know he was the soundtrack creator there.
Well, now you do.
Do you know his nicknames were Dr. Funk and the Italian Leprechaun?
I knew that he had a cousin, and that cousin called him Cousin Benny.
That's a movie I've sseen.
It's the movie reference that I brought up earlier about his.
Correct.
Father's a mechanic. His father was a mechanic. Uncle Sido, mechanic. But you didn't get that. So
what was it? The tire treads that she noticed, or was
well,
it?
she was. He was like trying to introduce her bona fides as to why she would be able to look at the cars. How do I know that you've been around cars? But how do I know you know your way around a car? So. Anything we heard from the coaches there? I'll say this. I know it was at the end, so maybe that's the lasting impression that you leave. But the question about Richie James to Connor Embry, and Richie James was asked, brought up a number of times to the coaches, and saying that he's excited. He'll get his shots on Sunday. He's excited to be out there. I'm excited to see what he can do. I don't know. Is that Connor Embry talking and not being, media savvy and just like, oh, he'll get his shots. He's going to play on Sunday. He played last weekend, Or is it maybe, no, he's excited because he's going to get his shots this weekend. So if he's going to perform, there's an opportunity on Monday on Christmas for him to be out there because Sky Moore reps are there, and maybe there is more of a concerted effort, as Andy Reid said, maybe even before Sky Moore in the IR of, hey, we got to get Richie James in the game more. Sky Moore's out for the regular season. Okay, there we go. There's some more reps for Richie James. And, let's see what he can do. It's not like you're not going and bringing in Justin Jefferson.
Right.
But you know what the other guys have done for you, which is a net negative. Let's see what he can do if he were to fill those roles.
Well, and also back-to-back days of no practice for Kadarius Toney would have me guessing that we probably won't see him on Monday. It's a longer week, so we'll see. But, again, not practicing on what would usually be a Wednesday and Thursday for all of the issues that surround Kadarius Toney. He's been taking more snaps than Sky Moore has, and I don't know who does play in that spot if it's not Richie James. So it does seem like either by design or by necessity, Richie James should get plenty of shots on Sunday. I think that Embry's probably saying that in the we're going to play a football. Did I say Sunday? Regardless. I think Embry's probably saying, we are going to play an NFL football game, and our wide receivers will have to play there, and Richie James is one of them. But dissecting it some, the intention there might not really matter. Either way, I have to imagine he's going to get a pretty significant workload unless they want to bring the workload of MVS back up. And, again, they're different type of players and working in different positions on the field. So.
Nope.
I don't think they want to do that either, but they're running out of options, weirdly.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so Jerick McKinnon, back-to-back practices. He has now missed. Clyde Edwards-Helaire misses practice for a personal reason. Isaiah Pacheco returning to the lineup this weekend. So all three of your running backs there having some sort of an issue. Hopefully Pacheco back ready to go for the stretch run of the final 6 games, since they'll get the number 2 seed, at least. For these final 6 games of the season, that Pacheco healthy and ready to go. We'll see what the impact of Jerick McKinnon may be with missing back-to-back games. Again, that groin was an issue already this year, and now he's missing practices with a groin injury again. It could be like L'Jarius Sneed and nursing along a swollen knee throughout the season. Max Crosby doesn't ever practice because of a knee, and then he plays on Sundays and Mondays. Maybe it'll be one of those, but certainly they don't need to be losing people that can help and be part of the solution in some degree. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back catching up on some breaks with the longer press conferences. Mick Schaefer will join us in the 1 o'clock hour. We got the cuts before the show is over. We'll weigh in on what we think is going to happen with the Chiefs and Raiders on Monday, but also want to get our thoughts on Miami and Dallas and also San Francisco and Baltimore coming up this weekend. Big games impacting the Chiefs. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Continue rolling. More Zone next.
Is this Maroon 5?
It is. It is actually Maroon 3. So it's a subset of it was actually Creed. It was one of their original pieces.
Yeah.
That they put together.
Felt like kind of that.
So.
90s post-grunge kind of era.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they went from growing up in Hollis, Queens. So it was like, the Christmas time in Hollis, Queens. Mom's cooking chicken and collard greens, rice and stuffing, macaroni and cheese. Santa puts gift under Christmas trees with arms wide open.
Right. That's it.
Under the moonlight. Welcome to our chimney.
I'm at a payphone.
Yes. Man, I haven't thought about that song in years.
Yes.
How about the Gym Class Heroes guy? When did that song come out?
Mm-hmm. Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 Sports Director,
I
hanging
thought that
out
was
with
Maroon
us.
5, is it?
It is. It is.
Yeah, okay.
Wiz Khalifa on that one, I guess. Okay, I couldn't remember.
Okay.
2012, that's when that song came out. I just haven't thought about that in a while, and that was a huge song for a minute, and Mick just brought that back. My favorite Christmas song.
A lot of people thought they sounded like Run DMC back in the day.
Yeah, frequent.
They didn't.
Confusion.
So, there was maybe Run DMC sounded like Maroon 5. Anybody think of that? No, they did not. Mick Schaefer is with us for the final hour of the show. 5:30
Stereo
today.
Hearts is the song that Maroon 5 did with the Gym Class Hero. I guess actually that's a Gym Class Hero song with Adam Levine, just since you were wondering.
Well, thank God we got to the end of that. Appreciate us figuring that one out.
Yeah, you know that stuff, but you've never seen My Cousin Vinny. How is this a world that I live in?
Songs are only 3 minutes long, more or less.
Yeah, but you watch, you play Pokemon stuff for probably hours, right?
I do, but you have like other stuff. That's what I listen to podcasts.
And you have TV, you watch TV shows, right? That are
sometimes,
long?
sometimes. We have a hard time sticking with those too, though. If I'm not playing Subway Surfers.
One TV show.
Movies.
You could call it like a two different 1 hour episodes. And that's it. It's a limited series of 2 1-hour episodes.
Movies are too long. It's not it's a common take, but not like movies are longer than 3 minutes, and that's too long.
Well,
for
no,
me.
but
that's a weird take.
I'm able to get a lot more multitasking in when it's an audio medium, and I can listen to a lot of songs in the time it would take to watch My Cousin Vinny.
So I don't know if you know this, but in movies they have video and audio as well, so they got both covered.
Yeah, but I am gonna need like Google Glass to play Minecraft.
They do have the 4D seats. You can sit. Have you ever done those? One of those movies?
It's been a long time. Yeah, that'd be good.
Like the seat shakes, and then like maybe some smoke will come out.
Yeah.
You smell like flowers and stuff.
Yeah, if I could also play Stardew Valley
that might
while
be
doing
enough to take care of all of your senses.
Then I'm almost there.
You put closed captioning on, then you can read as well as you can hear it, see it.
They have
read
food
it.
there at movie theaters you can eat. So I just want you to make sure you know you can be on sensory overload watching a movie as well.
Right.
All right, well,
you can have your phone on. They love that.
Yeah,
they're big fans of that.
As long as I can play a game on my phone while I'm also doing all of this, I'm fine.
You know what? They love when you dance and sing and get up in the aisles. Oh, wait, that was the Eras Tour. They do love that, but other movies maybe not as much. 5:30 today, KU pregame. They take on Yale at 7 o'clock.
Quick little segue there.
WHB, a little post-game show at 9 o'clock. So a little shortened, abbreviated version of the program today is nice little Merry Christmas, Sir. 3.5 hours today. Merry Christmas. Felt like we kind of did 3.5 hours with the coaches talking and us having to catch up, but we do get to now catch up with Mick Schaefer. Mick, I was told by somebody that they witnessed you singing karaoke to a Jack Black song in a bar last weekend. Is that true?
No, couldn't be me.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think it was. I said, no way he would do that. He's a Maroon 5 guy all the way.
Yeah.
He'd never do that. Are you a karaoke guy? You heading out to different weekends? And it's just like, oh, my God. Mick, do you use the real name Mick Schaefer? Or is it like John Rogers is next up? That's me, guys.
Or the Parks and Rec. Are we in a Duke whatever situation right now?
I'm the furthest thing from a karaoke guy. I'm the furthest thing from like a wedding dancer. But there's a point in time, things are going well. Had a few pops where I'm not going to say no to anything.
Nice.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. I'm going to borrow some money next time we're at each other having some pops.
Yes.
Well, look, Mick Schaefer, he said I could have.
But I only give money to people who have had as many pops as me. Jason.
Well, I'll actually have the pops, so that's done deal.
All I remember from the recent days was going to the 810 Christmas party and dominating at Golden Tee.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. You've seen Ghost, right, Jason? It's another movie that everybody's seen. Mick is making me a little
time
bit.
You brought up a Ghost reference in the last 2 days somehow.
Mick is making me better at Golden Tee, little bit by little bit, and I don't feel like I need to say any more than that.
Is there Unchained Melody in the background? While you guys are playing
Wrapping my
Golden Tee?
arms around him as he's on the trackball trying to make a putt. He was not letting me putt or just do it for him or teach him. And there's one time you just hit your stroke limit.
Yeah, I did. I did do that once, which, that happens sometimes.
Yeah, your parents told me.
Was Whoopi Goldberg
Back in
just
the
like
day.
in the corner, just watching? Just like
yes.
checking all this stuff out?
She forecasted that I was going to win at Golden Tee.
Mick is really good at Golden Tee on a level that I think would be hard to explain to someone who's not also very good
Well, I
at Golden
own a Golden
Tee.
Tee, so
yeah, you
there's
get your reps in. I'm not saying that you're purely a savant. I'm saying it's like what Jason was screaming at Little Man this morning when he wouldn't get out of bed at 6:30. It's about preparation. It's about effort. That you've got the talent, kid, but will you put in the work to do it? And Mick puts in the work on Golden Tee.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't yelling at him to get out of bed. I was yelling at him of what took place in his in a cage session this morning at 5:45. Like, he wasn't getting on plane quick enough with the bat. Lazy ass. Just little things like that typically 8-year-olds you got to deal with, right? I mean, come on, Mick, I mean, just oh my goodness.
Yep. All 3 of my kids have been 8.
You know what it's like to have an 8-year-old.
They've all been 0 through 12 actually at this point.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm going to need you to work that and then bring the bat. I mean, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. They just don't listen. The kids just don't these days.
That's when you beat them, right?
No, I found what they want is just a lot more teachings from dad and a lot more yelling from dad, and just really the louder you get and the more passionate you get, the more they're going to get into it. That's what I found.
I'm embarrassed by you right now, son. Embarrassed. You know what? When you go out there, change your name. Be Jeff Holtis today. Okay, do that. Don't wear the Anderson name playing like that. Damn it.
You
Did he rip you a new one when you got home from the first KC Current Media game?
He you know what? He was
Should've.
He's very sweet.
He doesn't care about soccer.
He just thought it was the coolest thing that I was out there on the field.
You should just let him know that when he strikes out, all of his dead relatives are watching.
Yeah, I do that all the time. I'm like, do it for Grandpa. Come on. Or maybe not. Maybe next time. Apparently, you don't love him.
Hey, kid, I don't want to alarm you, but they're all in purgatory unless you get on first.
When you do anything, all your dead relatives are watching.
Well, that's what I tell them, as well. But hey, you're at the free throw line. It's you and all your dead relatives, okay? So just understand, you're not alone. They're at the free throw. Everybody's watching.
Letting down generations.
Yeah, a lot of generations are watching. They're in that gym there with you. I mean, a lot of people passed in that gym. There've been different services held right there. So
do you guys ever wonder if when you become a ghost, which is of course the thing that happens, are you stuck in the clothing that you're wearing when you pass, or do you get to have do you have a ghost wardrobe somewhere?
See, I've always wondered, what age do you get to pick your age, or are you the age as a ghost of when you pass?
It's a great question. I mean, of course you would be dying in some sort of case where you would either have died in a great passion or have unfinished business. So either of those would probably skew a little younger, I guess. If you die a fulfilled life at an old age, you probably just kind of peace out from there. But sometimes I think like
Rose in Titanic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She accomplished everything she needed to accomplish and lived a long,
died peacefully
life
with her loving family she had with a man she never wanted.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and so he and the kids might end up with some unfinished business after they watch the movie. But I think pretty frequently if I beefed it and had to spend eternity in this outfit, would I be happy with that? And I feel like Mick, the answer is always yes, unless it's TV clothes. Mick, do not die at the station. Do not die in a suit.
Well, here's the deal. It's 6:35. I'm out of my suit every night.
Good.
I've at least changed shirts, put a hat back on. And then 10:05, 10:10, I'm back in the costume.
People typically think if this was my last time, what would people think of me? What would they remember of me? Am I a good person? Am I good to people? Have I done enough in the community? What would the what would those things be like? What would the the services be like? Would be a lot of people there. And Josh is like, man, what if I died in these clothes?
Josh is like, hopefully I die in my favorite jean jacket.
That's kind of what, but like I wear this jacket all the time because I want to be a comfy ghost. Like you know what would make you really want to haunt people? Being in pleated pants for eternity. Like imagine being in a stiff jacket that you put on that like you haven't worn in a while. It doesn't fit great anymore, but you put it on for a special occasion and then you beefed it. Like that'd be a horrible way to live throughout all of eternity.
So you think like the mean ghosts, the haunting ghosts are the ones who died in like their mowing clothes?
Well, really, they're the ones who died in Victorian clothes. I mean, if you die in an ascot or with a with a corset on, you're gonna be miserable for eternity. If I die in sweatpants, I'm gonna haunt fun places and just like scare your friends a little bit.
You know what's crazy?
Coming out of games at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got sweatpants on.
That's perfect.
So you're thinking like Harry Potter rules, where they're all kind of like in the clothes, like from their time, basically. Like when the ghosts are. Have you seen that movie?
I have seen those movies.
Right. I have to ask.
It's a great clarifying question.
Wait. You haven't seen My Cousin Vinny or Step Brothers or any of the classics, but you've seen all the Harry Potters?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
14 years
He's a
old.
20-year-old nerd is what he is.
Yeah, no, that's also true. If it makes you feel better, I wasn't allowed to watch Harry Potter until much later. It was still, again, I was the firstborn in a pretty sort of, media conscious parental
Commune?
unit. So, yeah, close enough. But no, I think you just end up being a ghost in the clothes you're wearing at death. So if you die in the Victorian times and you're wearing some, again, the corset or a 14-layer dress or whatever, you're going to have a miserable time, and then you're going to be one of those ghosts that tries to, haunt kids or whatever. I'll be a Casper. I'll pop popcorn for you, man. I'm cool with it.
All right, so
that's when I'm going to watch all the movies I haven't
don't
seen.
think about this at all, but I do think about this. How about the people in the 1890s?
Yeah.
Made fun of how the people in the 1870s dressed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
1870s.
And if you ask me, I couldn't figure out between 1500 and probably 1940.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody dressed the same to me, really.
Yeah, that's a great point.
1870s was an embarrassment to fashion. So I understand why the 1890s are upset. They should be.
1869, crazy year. Crazy year, great fashion. 1870, it all fell apart.
Well, that's when they're like, make love, not civil war.
My son says that I get to go to work every day in my pajamas.
You
It's
do.
it's pajama day at your school. Well, you get to wear pajamas every day to work.
You could.
I mean, I could actually if I wanted to, but no. It's the only time in my life where I put on jeans, buddy. Is to go to work.
These are Dad's
Put on
work
real
pants.
jeans. Come right home and put on some sweatpants.
My son got dress coded at school for the first time any of our kids got dress coded at school the other day.
Wow,
for shorts too high.
I didn't know he had this shirt that he shouldn't have worn. It said it was all abbreviations. It said IDC, IDK, IDGAF.
I mean, come on, kid.
Just that last letter.
It's a great shirt, though. It's pretty cool.
I don't got fudge.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Did he try to sell that? Did he
It's
try
Christmas.
to be like?
Yeah.
Did he try to convince them? He was like, no. It says it's short for I do care, I do know, I do give a. It's affirmative that way.
Yes. I'm
Not
like,
so negative.
What are you doing? Why are you wearing that? That's dumb. I didn't know you had that.
I do Christmas. I do Claus. I do give Frosty. The
What about
snowman,
the
his
A?
love. Frosty.
Yeah,
Frosty.
And I guess Klaus could be spelled with a K. I guess traditionally
Of course it
it's traditionally
He said
Claus
Claus,
isn't.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
Keep working on that. Is what we're saying, Jason.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll find. I'm just trying to help your son out. If you don't want him helped out, that's perfectly fine. Go to the principal's office. Your dad doesn't care about you, buddy.
but they
I'm
make
trying
him
to
put
help.
on like a big communal shirt
I
that
don't
they
know, I don't know.
have, like
They did.
like a painting shirt. Like he's wearing a smock the rest of the day.
I don't know what happened then. If you had to turn it inside out or what.
At homeschool high school, if there is bare shoulder, you just get burned at the stake. So I hope whatever it was less severe than that.
Did you get ever have to go and change your clothes, Josh?
Yeah, sometimes just to
Did you wear
rebel.
your pajama day?
Yeah, sometimes just to rebel, I would go back into my room and I would put on a different pair of pajamas, just because they say that like you don't want to sleep and work in the same outfit. So yeah, I'd go from the onesie to like two separate piece pajamas sometimes, just to be a little less comfortable.
Makes sense. Makes total sense. Mick, did my wife and I were wrapping the presents last night to the kids, and so we've got all of that stuff. We're gonna let Santa take care of everything else. So you deal with that stuff, dude. Okay. whatever else is
A lot of
left.
times Santa gets lazy. He just leaves it out there, not in a bag, not wrapped up.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like, when I grew up, Santa stopped by and he would wrap our presents, maybe because he cared about us. I don't know. But my wife's family and now our kids, Santa just leaves the presents out for them.
Yes.
And so I didn't know that was a thing. I thought, it was cool. I would wake up in the morning, walk out there, and there would be like, one or two more presents under the tree. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Why are they already opened? And then, we'd have our Christmas morning. And now they walk out there and just see everything right there. That's from Santa. I don't know. I just feel
that's
like
what
Santas
happens in
these
our
days,
house.
Santas these days have gotten so lazy.
Well, we allow it because a lot of times we hire Santa to arrive on Christmas Eve morning because there's other places we need to be.
Other places he needs to be. I mean, for him, it's just getting one more house out of the way a day early.
It is.
I'm sure he appreciates that.
Yes.
That's a good point. He actually, but if they're all wrapped, it's good. He's not the one wrapping it. It's the elves. They're the ones that are working.
Mm-hmm.
Santa's, Santa's just the delivery guy. That's all he is.
Do the elves
he's just
strike?
delivering the stuff.
Do the elves also strike when all?
Are they union?
I think. I have to imagine elves don't have a union. I can't.
No
It
chance.
does not seem like they have very good working conditions.
Well, and they're just, they're conditioned to work 24/7.
Yeah,
right? So they're
They're just. And I tell my son, like, if there's anything he asks,
need a
Santa
living
for,
wage,
and it doesn't come, I'm like, look, dude. It's the economy, man. Everything's on back order.
Yeah.
You got parts they're waiting on. Maybe next Christmas, man. But your asks for Santa come in your time, and his answers come in his time.
And actually, now that I think about it, I mean, the elves, since they live on the premises, they might technically be like indentured servants or something. I don't know. I mean, presumably Santa's covering room and board, but I'm not sure that that's a good trade out if you're working like 360 days a year.
Well, it's all you know, right? And
I guess so. I guess
it's
that's
like
true.
they're purebred for that.
Yeah, that's
why they're not allowed to get outside of the North Pole except for specific houses, which is odd that it might.
Listen, if work brings you joy,
watching you.
If work brings you that much joy, then it's not work.
I guess I wonder if it is it as good of a work environment as it seems on the surface. The movies sometimes it seems like it's a good work environment.
Right? We're getting the Facebook version of what's going on there.
I think
we are so happy here on vacation. You put the camera down and then you just pick your kids up by the hair and just drag them to the sand.
I just want to know, where's the money generated though? If you're paying the elves, like who's paying Santa?
Yeah, I don't.
Like,
that's the thing is like,
generating the
well,
money?
Santa's selling your data, just like all modern companies
that
now.
Guy can scour the earth in like a matter of hours. Okay,
Yeah.
You don't think he can just get money whenever he wants it?
That's true. Maybe he's taking more than your cookies. Huh.
And Mick pays him to come to his house, so that he has those kind of events.
Yeah, it looks like we
Right.
hire him
Some
for Christmas Eve.
Gig work.
Good for you.
It's why he picks up all those.
That's what he does.
It's why he picks up all those extra mall shifts too. Because
That's how he pays the
like,
elves
holy
with
bleep, how did we
appearances.
get Santa here? It's like, well, Santa's got to make money.
So you guys really didn't plan out anything for the last hour of the week?
No,
before
I had
Christmas,
like
did you?
5 different things I wanted to ask you about here, but it's Christmas weekend. What are we going to do? Break down the Raiders and Chiefs again? Hey, you know what, Mick? I was going to get your thoughts. What do you think about Kadarius Toney?
Oh God, yeah. Now let's get back to the fluff.
Oh my goodness! Would you play George Pickens this weekend if you were Mike Tomlin, Mick? I mean, I thought the standard was the standard. Is the standard not the standard? Because
he wants, he wants that volunteer to block.
Do you think Santa wants volunteers or hostages? What do you think Santa prefers?
Just keep it. Yeah, you look at the L's. If they're blinking like in Morse code, get a pen and paper.
Do you think it's a George Pickens thing, or do you think maybe it's the Steelers that are like, oh, Antonio Brown and Pickens and Deontay Johnson and Martavis Bryant and Chase Claypool, we'll just overlook all these things and just go with the talent because we'll fix everybody. Maybe that's an issue. I don't know.
It's kind of messed up how often Juju Smith-Schuster gets lumped in with those guys, because Juju just like danced on the internet a few times and everyone was like, oh, what a head case. He never had like effort or off the field issues in that regard. Somebody's tweet just had a bunch of those sort of head cases, and then also Juju's like, hey, that's not fair.
No, Juju's not there. But Juju also stopped dancing once he left Pittsburgh.
Yeah, maybe he was trying to dance his way out of Pittsburgh.
Andy Reid might have been like, look, you can show your personality. Just don't do it at the 50-yard line on another team's logo on TikTok before the game. Okay,
yeah.
Deal.
Yeah, that seems fair.
That's an even exchange. Okay, That'd be perfectly fine. But I don't know. Would George Pickens be better in a Chiefs uniform? Because, there may be more leaders. It's not Kenny Pickett and, Jalen Warren and Deontay Johnson, who's already stopped playing once this year, where MVS would clearly have him in shape. You know that. So.
Mick has declined to comment as his
I'm just wondering, what
representative.
are like the Steelers O linemen saying? Like, well, okay, literally every play we can get rolled up on and block, right? But we still do it. It's football, right?
I just
It's
love
football.
that every former player has come out and is like, "This is ridiculous. This is, it's a shame, and he's embarrassing." And he's going, "The only people saying that are you media members. People that have never played the game are the only people talking about me." Like, no, there's Hall of Famers. There's guys that are much better than you that are talking about how what you did was absurd.
This media member named Jerome Bettis.
This wide receiver media member named Randall Moss. Randall Moss. What's he know? You saw me moss this guy the other day. And that guy's talking about what I may or may not do. What has he ever done in the NFL? I'm mossing dudes, and this Randall Moss dude wants to talk about me? Pff, do something, and then come at me. Jalen Warren did say on Wednesday, quote, it is what it is. At the end of the day, he was doing what he thought was best for him. Some people play the game differently. If I was in that position, I would have blocked for him, but we play differently.
Well done, Poke, Oklahoma Stater.
You're
Well
damn
said.
right. Yeah, a big game this weekend we need from him as well, don't we, Mick? We need a big game from him. Come on.
Sure, I guess. Is he in your fantasy
Come on,
league?
Jalen. He has big game from Olave last night. Olave v. Cup last night, going up against a guy that had Cooper Kupp. I had Olave. It was a big night. That's a good start. It's a good start, but need to keep this momentum rolling. Momentum's real in fantasy sports.
I thought it'd be really funny to see if Antonio Brown had tweeted about George Pickens not blocking, and so I just went and scrolled down his timeline, and I can't read a single one of his tweets.
On air.
No, and nothing about George Pickens. I am just being reminded of, man, a lot of peanut emoji. I'll tell you that. There's a peanuts emoji.
Okay.
He's using it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good for him.
He didn't appreciate what Ryan Clark said.
He didn't?
No.
Oh, so he is defending George Pickens.
No, it's just that Antonio Brown got sideswiped, as did Juju, by Ryan Clark.
I see what you're saying.
And so Antonio Brown did quote tweet that, asking what he needs to do to keep, let's just say, my name out your mouth. And he didn't say name. If his name was Richard, it would be his name.
My peanuts emoji out of your mouth?
Well, no, that's actually getting used even more directly in some
Nickname?
other circumstances. Yeah.
Elf?
He said, "I'm the best Steeler wide receiver all time. Check stats. Hell, you talking about cancer? I was the savior."
My son is currently printing off that tweet and putting on a T-shirt to wear to school in January.
My son just asked for that for Christmas. We'll see if Santa delivers that. If he does, it's going to be wrapped. And that's a wrap for this segment. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk some Chiefs and Raiders.
Sure, we will.
Get some prediction. I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe we'll talk Jesus Luzardo. Everybody's been waiting with bated breath to talk Jesus Luzardo. We won't talk about that. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back and continue rolling. We got cuts before the show is over as well. More is on next. far behind. It's my daughter's favorite Christmas song.
Really?
Yep. Make it to town. It's from Home Alone. Santa make 'em tell him he can take the freeway down. Home Alone's a movie. It's a Christmas movie, Josh, where a kid gets left home alone.
Is that the one with the last guy who was president in it?
It's got the guy from Succession in it.
They made 2 of them?
It does. They made multiple. Yeah, it does. It has the most famous of the Calkins in Home Alone.
I'd say the
1
second.
and 2.
It has 2 of the Calkins.
Interesting. I haven't seen Succession.
Fuller,
so.
easy on the Pepsi. Yeah.
They had a one of those things that I'm always a sucker for on the internet the other day. All the entire cast, right? Even the ancillary characters, what they look like now, and all that.
Easy click
For sure.
Got to get in there. Got to see.
Every time. There was an easy click. It was like 40 things from Christmas Vacation that I bet you didn't know. Things like that. I'm like, well, yes, I'm going to click on that. So I'm going to find out that he broke his pinky while chopping the reindeer when the lights didn't come on for the 13th umpteenth time, and he's kicking the sleigh, and he starts chopping the reindeer antlers, and he actually breaks his finger.
All these old movies, when I go and rewatch them, I'm like Breakfast Club. I'm on the side of the principal. Yeah, no, get your stuff together, guys.
Yeah,
okay.
Right, come on.
I understand where he's coming from, and I'm on the side of Todd and Margot. Now, the Griswolds are horrible neighbors to them.
I mean, well,
horrible.
We only see the snapshot of this time period.
I'm guessing,
Todd
but
and Margot might be just awful.
Maybe
awful
they're yuppies. They say snooty things, but they don't cause the property damage to the Griswolds' house that the Griswolds are causing to them, and their stereo system, and their windows, and their DVD player. And I guarantee you, one of them has chronic neck trouble from falling down the stairs. Todd does.
Yeah, and the carpet is ruined.
Carpet's ruined.
That's
wet.
the issue. Here's the thing. She wished for him to fall and break his neck. That's not a good neighbor. Sorry. You're more worried about property damage, and I'm worried about humans.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm worried about actual actions and not words.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, actions, not words. You've seen the thing by now on Home Alone, like when they throw the trash out, like his ticket is in the trash the night before. Have you seen that?
Yeah, because he
throws like the pizza wrapping away or whatever.
Yeah, the Pepsi and the milk falls on it.
Yeah,
or spills on it.
And you quickly will see Kevin Arnold on the ticket.
Okay, so I got a clarifying question here from someone who has made it almost 29 full years without saying Home Alone, even by accident, I guess.
At this point, I'm just annoyed.
They don't forget him because they don't have the ticket, right? Like
No,
they just
they're awful
leave
parents.
without him because they're bad
Well,
parents.
but then the ticket doesn't remind them, right? They don't have like the ticket there. Like, we have one more ticket.
We have one more ticket. What is?
We have the right number of
Are we gonna
tickets
bring
and
the
right number of
dog?
heads.
Who is this ticket for?
They were supposed to. They had the oldest of the kids to count all of the kids, make sure they were all there. And while she was counting heads, the neighbor kid was over messing around in the van, and so she tapped him on the head as one. And then they went on. And then as she turns around to go to the other van, he turns around and goes, "Bye, bring me back something French." And then they go on their way. One less ticket and one less kid, but everything was accounted for. See, that's how it happens. It's just unfortunate that they're awful parents.
They did it
And they do
again.
Yeah, they did it
again.
twice. It's just at some point.
It's hard to do.
At some point, you gotta get the hint. I think is trying to. Maybe it's time for you to move
Really?
out, kid. Yeah, I mean,
Really?
I don't think
we've
these
been
parents are
watching
gonna be there
Kadarius
for
Toney
ya.
all year.
Yeah.
And we're thinking at some point you're going to get a hint.
I mean, did the Home Alone kid ever make one of those wet bandits miss in space? Huh?
No, but he did set up nails that if the wet bandit stepped in the wrong spot, he pulled his foot right back.
Ooh, that's good.
So,
Okay.
Yep, do that. What do we think happens, Mick, on Monday? Last week when I picked the Chiefs to cover the spread
here
and
we
win
go.
by at least 10 points, you had told me that I
Here we
don't pay
go.
attention to the Chiefs. So the
I
last
did
couple
not
of weeks I've been
say
right.
that. I said you asked me why I picked them to lose. I said because I pay attention, and you had picked them to lose the week before,
and they did.
And they did. So yeah,
one last.
Pick them to lose again. That's what's going to happen. 21-17 Raiders.
Every single time. Just do that moving forward. Is there anything that they can accomplish in this game? Let's just say they win. Okay, they win the game. Is there anything like accomplishing in your mind in this game? Or is it just win the game? Raiders aren't all that good. They're closer to the 0 than they are the 63, and which could also be 30. So Weird. But really, it's the Chiefs playing themselves, and hey, we'll see come January.
Yeah, look, I don't want to see. Look, they were bumbling and stumbling last week, right? They had the same issues with, of course, the Tony drop and other drops and turnovers and fumbles, and nobody seems to value possession of the ball whatsoever, right? At all. And I mean, they get the fumble, they recover. The fumble, it gets turned away because of a penalty. No, I want to not see that for once. Yeah. I want to see consistent drives down the field. Mahomes talks about it every game. Well, one part of the season we're good at the beginning of the game, the other part we're good at the end. No, have a consistent. You're the defending champs. You have Patrick Mahomes. You have Travis Kelce. Go out and just like you have 10 possessions in a game. Score on 7 of them. I'm not even saying touchdowns every time, but maybe 4 touchdowns, 3 field goals. Let's go. Oh. What is that?
You score on 7 points. 21 points. At least.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, I had, and again, I don't know if this is just simply they're on a stretch run of football to where they're scoring more points than they were before. But in the last 6 quarters against the Bills and Patriots, they have scored 44 points in those 6 quarters. Roughly 30 points per game is what they would average over the course of a season. It's 6 quarters.
Yeah.
That's what I'm watching for against the Raiders is do they continue that stretch to where, well, they've had some, because they had turnovers against the Bills and they had, turnovers against the Patriots, but they still put up what would be an average of 30 points. If they do that against the Raiders and
Willie Gay set them up on the 6.
He absolutely, yes. He did. But part of having a defense is that they've set him up before and they haven't come through. So find ways to do that. And really what you're saying, Mick, is you get the ball to Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the air more. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Throw it to him. What do you think happens, Mick? Do you have a score for us?
21-17 Raiders.
Let's go. Double
down. Just winning a game last week against an awful team that tried to match you mistake for mistake does not mean it's all rainbows and sunshine and unicorns.
But it's rainbows and sunshine for the Raiders to come in here 10 o'clock their time on Christmas Day with their season already over and beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where were the Bills at? Right, their season was imploding and they beat the Chiefs.
They were playing a playoff game.
I mean, this is the same Raiders team.
1, 2, 3 Cancun.
And actually, I mean, I like what Antonio Pierce is doing. I don't think he's that team is packing it in. Right?
Yeah, not at all. They packed in their offense 2 weeks ago and scored 0. So,
but then what they do after that?
Did you hear Spags?
Scored 63 against the team.
Did you hear what Spags said on that? He said,
"But their defense scored. Mick, you can't count all 63 for the defense.
Okay, I'll count 56
for the offense. I mean,
count 56 then."
Spags said the Raiders played a tough defense against Minnesota, so that was a little different for them, as opposed to playing the Chargers the week after. He said they played a good defense against Minnesota. That was a little different for them. So I think.
Interesting.
I think Spags may have also thought that maybe Brian Flores is a better defensive coach than Brandon Staley. I don't know.
I want to see something that makes me believe this team's going to win games in the playoffs. Multiple
Dylan, you
games.
Following Mick into that dark night?
I want to. I cannot bring myself to pick the Raiders. I think the Raiders will definitely cover. 10 points is way too much.
Ooh,
but
10 points is a lot.
Chiefs win.
What's the score?
I'll go 24-20.
24-20 Chiefs. Josh, you got a score?
I do. I'm going Chefs 23-13. I don't think the Raiders get the fast start. I do think 10 a.m. on Christmas morning on the road is not where you want to be. And the Chiefs should have the understanding at this point that, hey, let's get out of here. Let's light this thing on fire early, and then let's get home and open some stockings.
Is it 10 or would it be 11? What is Vegas? Is it West Coast time
That's
or
a
is
good
it
question.
Mountain?
Earlier, Mick said 10, and Jason said you're Mick.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was
Jason
2
said
hours.
10.
It might be
so
2.
I don't know. Let's find out what time it is.
Pretty close to California.
They don't have any clocks in Vegas, so
It's true. I'm going 31-10 Chiefs over the Raiders on Christmas Day.
That would be great.
2 hours.
2 hours difference.
2 hours, yeah. So 10 o'clock their time in a season that is lost on Christmas Day, that they're on the road and staying in a hotel the night before at a different city and not around their family. And the Chiefs outscored the Raiders 31-3 in the final 36 minutes last time they played. Yeah, I'll go 31-10. Let's weigh in on a couple of bigger games around the NFL. Miami and Dallas. I am going with Dallas to win, and I'm going to take an alternate line. I think Dallas wins by like 4 or 5 points.
Where's the game at?
Or maybe
It's in Miami. You're doing the thing that I did last week, Jason.
I'm taking
Dallas.
I will not take Dallas on the road.
Give me Dallas. You got
Give me-
Miami, Mick?
Give me Miami.
Okay, Miami Mick. That's what we called him. That's what his nickname back in
Like
in
Mattress Mac.
college was. That's right. Dylan or Josh, you guys want to take over and be
Wait,
wrong on
we're
Miami?
picking other games here, too.
I know.
These are two big games that affect the Chiefs with Miami and then the Baltimore 49ers game.
I think the Miami nightlife is undefeated on road games for teams, so I'm also going to go with Mick there. Miami.
Okay. Josh?
Fool me once, shame on. Can't get fooled again. I'll go ahead and take Miami in a game that I will not be betting even one shiny nickel on. I wouldn't have picked this game on the record if you didn't bully me into doing it right now.
What time is that game?
3:25.
Well, I mean, that's 2:25 Dallas time.
I don't understand what the Dallas thing is right now, and so I'm going to.
I just love that it's like I can't pick Dallas; they don't win on the road, so I'm going to pick Miami that hasn't beaten a good team all year.
Yep.
I totally believe in Miami that has beaten a bunch of non-playoff teams.
Just to be
and how
really
they play.
clear, I don't believe in either of them on a level I'm willing to bet on. I'm just you asked, and so that's
no.
It's a very
fine.
movable force and a very
I feel like with Jason today, there's a
object.
right and wrong answer, and I picked the wrong answers both times on these games.
Wait till you get to the next one.
Hey,
San Francisco and Baltimore.
Hey, Jason, you go first, then I'll play off that.
Yes, Baltimore feels disrespected, and that's going to motivate them to a loss in which San Francisco covers. So I think 49ers win this game. I loved Michael Lombardi said this morning, he goes, if the Ravens can run the football, they can keep this thing close and be in the game. Yeah, if this team does the best thing that they do really well, they should be able to stay in this game with this other NFL team. Yeah, we'll see. I'll take San Francisco. Anybody else want to step up?
The 49ers are winning that game.
49ers.
They're the best team in the NFL.
Right answer on that one. Good job. 1 for 3 for you.
Look, guys,
1 for 3. My test is coming back with a 33% on it.
Yeah. This game's going to be at 7:15 Central Time, which would be what 5:15 in San Francisco. That's 8:15 in Baltimore.
Yeah.
They're tired.
I think. Listen, if Baltimore can run the ball well, if they can throw the ball well, if they can maybe force a couple of turnovers, then they can keep this thing close. I'll take the Niners.
All right, Dylan.
Yeah, give me the Niners.
All right, we're all swept with the Niners. There we go. I think we're going to show up on Tuesday, and the Chiefs are going to be in the number 2 seed, and they'll be one Baltimore loss away from being the 1 seed. I think Baltimore and Miami both lose this weekend.
We'll get in here at 10 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday, and December 26th.
Like 8 o'clock, West Coast time. 11 o'clock Eastern time is what it feels like. All right, let's take a time out. We'll get the cuts before the show is over. Don't forget, we got KU basketball taking on Yale tonight, 5:30 pregame. That will be the last game before the Christmas break. Bill Self warning players about being ready to go against Yale. They don't play again until December 30th at T-Mobile against Wichita State. And then Mizzou and Illinois tonight. Also, they don't play until December 30th as well. K-State with their win last night. That's right. They are going to brag about this one for years. K-State with their win last night against Wichita State. They are off till January 2nd. Enjoy some time off, K-State. You earned it. We'll take a time out. We'll come back and get the cuts for you next. depending on the age. So, yeah, good to know. Sitting on a Clorox wipes, so clearly my butt has been disinfected. Leading us off here on Sports or Leisure. Avery, what side do you want to start with?
Hey, gabagool.
The Syracuse job?
They hired somebody. It was
Look up his name. He was the D-backs coach at Georgia.
Yeah, that's
Not
right.
the coordinator,
Not even
he's
a
the
coordinator, yeah.
Fran Brown.
He's got He's got the stink of Kirby Smart on him.
Brown. You want to know why they got Fran Brown?
Because he said yes?
No, because he coached at Temple for a little while and apparently got a couple of 5-star kids to Georgia. To Georgia! You know.
So hard to get
tough
in there.
place to sell.
Who else can get guys
What's
to
his,
Georgia?
let me see a picture of this guy. I'm assuming.
Fran Brown.
Oh, I like him more now.
Is he fat?
Went a long way for that one.
Adam. Oh, well, that's do we have another one to send us off into the weekend?
Don't fumble anywhere near there. Anyone that potentially could, right? Like, so the truth is you have a lot of things that are small. Listen to Gordy. He's really mad about it, too.
Gordy always weighs in on the Cynthia Freeland segments. Jimmy Garoppolo was the starting quarterback for the Raiders this year. He's not starting this week, but he was starting quarterback for the Chiefs this year.
Oh, wait.
Or for the Raiders, sorry. That'd be terrible.
That'd be terrible.
See, I can't tell them apart either, Jason, this week. I don't know who's going to win.
Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo, I promise you, is not going to be the winning quarterback this weekend. Not going to be the winning quarterback.
There's a chance.
Nope.
See?
All right, sorry, Adam. I guess I was wrong.
Yes, you are wrong. Mick, thank you so much. I
Anytime,
appreciate it.
every other day.
All right. Everybody have a safe and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
We'll talk to you
everybody.
Tuesday.